Thank you.
You're welcome.
The last time we did this, I had a coughing spell, so I just have to bring me honey so we don't do that again. All right, so while we're going live, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, thank you. All right, close the door so your sisters don't come down. Thank you. Close the door so the girls don't come down. But have your watch handy, please, so that in case I need you. All right, thank you. All right, good afternoon, everyone. 1 second. All right, and then we're going to stream to one more place. Oh, tell me in the chat where you're joining us from. Good afternoon. We're about to get started. We just had an amazing pre-show. We just found someone who asked me for a $2 million cash flow business. And guess what? We actually did find it. There's an echo. All right. Good. So I'm going to hit record. Thank you, Victoria, for reminding me that I should hit record. Are we recording? Yes, we are recording. All right. So we're about to do this again. Okay? I am going to basically stop the current recording so that we start again. Excited. Okay, so in a moment, type where you're coming in from. Let's see it all. Let's see it all in the chat. And if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook or wherever, just if you want to hop on Zoom with us, the link is gonna be, what is it? savvydocevents.com/BAW. savvydocevents.com/BAW. Victoria, if you want to go put that in the chat on YouTube, that will be fantastic. Okay. Exciting. We're gonna dive right into it because we're not here to mess around. We're not here to, waste time or just tell stories. Perfect. Excellent. Thank you, Victoria. Let's get my slides up so that. All right. Okay, beautiful. So we're gonna do presenter view. Beautiful. I'm gonna share my screen right about now. Okay, so I recently stumbled upon a post from Alex Hormozi. If you don't know him, that's okay. You'll be friends by the time we are done. He just got the world record for on August 17th for the most nonfiction books sold in 24 hours. Can you guys see my screen? If you can see my screen, type a yes in the chat so that way I know you can see my screen. All right, yes, you can. Okay, perfect. You can see my screen, you can hear my voice, everything is communicating, we're all good, right? All right, perfect. All right, so I'm gonna also switch the chat to you being able to send text just to the host and panelists so that way we can stay focused, we don't get distracted. Hold on, there's just one more thing I need to adjust on my screen here so that. All right, good. We are good now. All right, so you can see my screen. We're good to go. Let's do this. So Alex Hormozi, if you don't know him, like I said, he just got the world record on August 17th. I saw a post from him that said it's easier to make $10 million than $100,000 a year. And then he broke it down. He said, imagine that you're walking. If you aim to walk for 12 minutes, you cover 0.5 miles, not a lot. He said, imagine that you're biking. If you aim to bike for 12 minutes, you will cover 3 miles, not bad. Imagine that you're driving. If you aim to drive for 12 minutes, you will cover 12 miles. Now we're getting somewhere. And then he said, now imagine that you're flying. If you aim to fly for 12 minutes, you'll cover, a pretty good distance. The point is you will go far. And then he said, it's easier to get to 10 million because you pick a different vehicle, but all of these take the same time. The opportunity vehicle that you pick to build your business is going to propel you the furthest. All you have to do now is replace 12 minutes with 12 years and pick the right business opportunity that will propel you to 10 million. And I said, that is the secret, okay? If you have had a hard time making meaningful income from your side businesses and investments, listen, the problem isn't you. If you've had a hard time making meaningful income from your side gigs, your vehicle may just need to change, okay? So, hey, if we have not met, hello there. I'm Dr. Chiagozie Fawale. I am the founder of Savvy Docs, where we help physicians and other high-earning professionals learn to build their own income streams so that they can practice medicine on their terms. By the grace of God, before I, got featured on large stages like, PIMD Con, before people, began inviting me on physician-focused podcasts and hosting impactful trainings like this one that you're attending right now, before I began building physician-focused communities, I was trying different things. I did different things, okay? I even went as far as trying out selling essential oils. I know, gasp, right? Like seriously, gasp. I didn't even know anything about essential oils. That's the funny part, right? But I was chasing financial freedom. I had a 3-year-old in tow. But whenever I made a sale of $150, by the way, the part of the sale that would come to me was a whopping $50. Gasp, right? Peanuts. Somebody type peanuts in the chat. Type peanuts in the chat, all right? But thankfully, I didn't stop there. I've now done different things. I mean, when I talk, I have done different things because like when I have a goal, I'm like, I'm going to pursue that goal until, okay? I've tried out different vehicles. It even got to a point, like I've been at this for long enough that even a friend of mine gifted me, and I mean gifted me her Facebook group called Women Physicians for Multiple Streams of Income. Because she was like, you're the queen of multiple streams, okay? So anybody here need ideas for income streams? Type a me in the chat. Please type that me in the chat because you're in the very right place. But here is the thing. When I have found something that has worked, like for example, our short-term rentals, like this one here that you're seeing on your screen was one where we scored 3 lakefront properties next to each other for less than $700,000. Yep, in one off-market transaction. When I have seen a method, a vehicle that works, preferably when it works better than the last one, I have made it a point to share with my clients and my network. And the ones that have paid attention, just like you're here right now, you're sitting here, you're watching on a Saturday afternoon, right? Like I'm Dr. Chang here. When they have listened, they paid attention, they have done the corresponding work, okay? They've gotten great results. Dr. Chang here, she sent me this text in October 2023. She said, total federal and state refund, $170,000. She used a strategy that I had shown her when I was teaching folks about buying short-term rentals. She said, thank you for all that you have taught me. And then Dr. George here, she said to me, 70K saved in taxes. We have never gotten a refund from the IRS after residency. Can anybody feel her on that one? She said, we have never gotten a refund from IRS since residency. Feels good. Would anybody have loved to have learned the thing that I taught her at that point? Like type a me in the chat if you'd have liked to know like what it is that got these folks these things, all right? Yeah. But in all the things that I've done, like this is not here, I'm not here for bragging rights, all right? You're not here for bragging rights. I just want to show you that I've done the runaround, okay? I've gotten my scrapes, I've gotten my bruises, I have had my days on my knees praying in my closet, like, dear Lord, help me here, right? Right? But if there is one thing I have learned from multiple businesses and side gigs, it's not everything is worth your time. As a high-earning professional, not everything is worth your time. Yes, these side gigs, they may make some people life-changing money. But as someone who earns $200, $300, $500,000 just by simply showing up to work, a side gig has to do a lot more for you. So when people say, "Oh, my life was changed," and they only made, 500K of $500 that month, that's not you. You're in a different category. All right. So let's do a quick exercise. Let's do a quick exercise. Tell me in the comments. Hold on one second. Actually, let me adjust this screen because it's bothering me. Hold on one second. Okay. That didn't do what I wanted it to do. Hold on. I just need to get my screening here because I need to be able to see multiple things at the same time. Just give me a second, guys. My screen is doing funny things and I don't want to not be able to see my screen properly. All right. All right. So yeah, let's do a quick exercise. Type in the okay. Can you all see my screen, by the way? Can you see my slides very well? Somebody said I don't see your screen, but do you see my slides? Do you see only my slides or do you see everything? Victoria, tell me. Somebody talk to me in the chat, please. Tell me what you're seeing. Okay, perfect. That's what I'm supposed to see. Very, very good. All right, good. All right, so circle back with me. Circle back with me. Thank you. Okay, so it says no slides, just screen. Okay, can you see my slides? Can everybody see my slides? If you're on a cell phone, swipe your screen left so that you're seeing really just the shared screen. All right. Some people are saying yes, some people are saying no. I want to make sure you're seeing my you're seeing my slides. My slides are changing. Right now, you should be seeing, let's do a quick exercise. You know what? Let's see what's happening on YouTube. YouTube will tell me the truth. And guys, I don't mind taking the time. Okay, perfect. All right. Perfect. All right, so I see what you're, no, there's only one link. There's only one link. All right, so I see what you're seeing now. So I'm okay with that. All right, very good. So I have YouTube here open on the side so that way at least I can see what you're seeing. All right. Very good. All right, reset. Come right back. Come right back. Very good. Okay, great. Perfect. Thank you guys. Awesome. Circle back. All right, so let's do a quick exercise. Type in the comments, what is that life goal that is making you consider additional income streams? Tell me in the chat. What is that life goal that is making you consider additional income streams? And we're talking, are you trying to cut back from work? Are you trying to, send your kids to private school? Are you trying to take vacations without using a credit card? Tell me in the comments. Tell me in the comments, okay? I'm seeing retire early. I'm seeing cut back from work and early retirement. Ooh, I like that one. Okay, he says give more. Give more. Okay, I like that. I like that. Who else? Who else? All right, someone is saying pay for my kids' college tuition and early retirement, freedom of time, retire with my wife, live free, financial freedom. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay. Stomach says start a business, okay? Trying to avoid a hospital merger takeover. Love it. This one is like, yes, I can't let it happen. Yes, that's a very important one, by the way. That is a huge one right there. That is pretty huge. All right. Now, okay. Now how much now let's make it a little more tangible. How much money How much monthly income will make that possible? So is it 10K a month, 20K a month, 50? Just tell me, like, give me the number. Um, how much, how much money will make that possible? All right. Type in the chat. Tell me how much money, how much will make that possible? How much monthly income will make that possible? Okay. Okay. So some people are saying here 50K. I'm seeing 50K. I'm seeing, okay, becoming extremely difficult work. Oh, sorry to hear that. 50K free cash flow monthly, 100K per month, 15K per month. Excellent. Somebody else, type in the chat. Tell me, like, how actually, like, because the reason that I asked that in particular is we need to make these things more tangible. Because very often what happens is that we say things like, oh, I want financial freedom. I want like this. And then it's a very like esoteric goal that even if we hit that number, we don't actually even know that we've hit it because we didn't even know what that number was, right? So when I say like, I actually want to know again. So if you haven't put in the chat yet, I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge you to put something in the chat, okay? Put something in the chat so that like as we do this, you have a frame of reference. You have something that you can like say, okay, this is a number that I'm working towards. As Chiagozie is talking, this is a number that my brain is thinking with. Okay, put that number in the chat. Okay. All right. Very good. Very good. So if you wrote down what looks like a big goal, so tell me, did you write down a big goal? Because if you did, I'm about to show you a framework to go after it. Are you ready? Are you ready? Type in the chat if you're ready. Okay. Because as someone who earns 300K just by showing up to work, there are many ways to advertise out there to make side income as a high earner. But if only showing up to work can get you 300K, you need to raise the floor. Okay. You need to do what I call raising the floor to, so that your efforts are worthwhile. All right. Hold on 1 second. All right. Just hold on. I'm just gonna pause this for a second. I'm gonna stop my share. I'm gonna stop the stream because I'm getting distracted by this screen not showing the correct thing. Give me 1 second. Okay. This did not happen the last time and it is irritating me and distracting me and I am not gonna get pissed. All right, where are we? Hold on. Father, in the name of Jesus. Okay, that looks more like it. Don't like getting distracted. I don't like things messing with my flow here, but particularly when I'm in the zone. All right, very good. Very good. All right, last check here now. Can you see my screen and can you hear me? Okay. Any yeses in the chat? Let me see my chat here. I need to see all of it. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Afshan. All right. My screen is like, stop it. All right, so let's keep going. We're gonna keep going. We're not gonna let any of this distract us, right? Because this stuff is actually very important. And I make sure I hit record. Yes, let's hit record. All right, so yes, so you must raise the floor for your efforts to be worthwhile. Okay, you must raise the floor. Okay, I put up a post a few days ago, sorry, yesterday on Facebook, really about that concept that we can't do what everybody else is doing because the persistence to actually get to good results comes from getting some reward. And when the reward is not enough, we do not continue. We do not press through. We do not hit that escape velocity that allows you to actually get great results because the results are like peanuts. All right. So I shared this earlier. There's a book that I read recently. It's called The Science of Scaling. It's by Benjamin Hardy. And in this book, he talks about how to accomplish impossible goals, how to accomplish like really big goals, right? And basically what he says was that when your goal is high, you can't be functioning at a level that is like way at the bottom here. Like you can't be looking for goals that are small, because if you notice at the bottom of the screen, it's crowded. But when you raise the bar and you raise the floor being the minimum you're willing to tolerate with any goal, you now see that of all those vertical lines that are there, the vertical lines become much fewer. And now there are just a few options that you get to choose from. Okay. So for example, if all you're trying to do was to make an extra, $500 a month, you see all those vertical lines, those are many, 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 many options. There are many ways to get there. There are many businesses on the market that can get you there. You get confused. If all you're trying to make was, let's say, $1,000 a month, there are fewer options, but there are still many, many, many options, right? It's fewer than before, but it's still a lot of options. But when you raise that bar and you say, even if you said even 5,000 a month, it's still respectable, but it's still not at a level that will get you to the point where you actually get to those goals. Because I was seeing 50K, I was seeing 100K a month type things. You see that the higher you go, the fewer the options get. But the higher you go from having many pathways and possible confusion and inaction to just a few pathways that have the potential to get there, to just a few vehicles. Okay, so now you can't just do all the side gigs, because all the side gigs wouldn't necessarily get you to your goals. But now there are fewer options, and guess what you can now do? You can now focus. Okay, so today I want to show you one of the solid pathways that I have found so that you can focus. Somebody type focus in the chat. Type focus in the chat. And by the way, you may not see other people's chats because now I'm the only one that can see your chats, okay? So that you can focus. Excellent. Keep typing that in the chat, okay? So now, if you get to spend the next hour with me, okay, I'm going to share with you 3 secrets about one pathway, not 15 pathways, not 17 pathways, about one pathway that completely transformed my thinking about building wealth, okay? Because remember how we talked about vehicles earlier? Your new vehicle may be buying a business. The new pathway that you may have to look at right now may be buying a business, okay? And we're talking not building from the ground up, not starting from scratch, but buying mature businesses, stable businesses, profitable businesses. And yes, your results will vary. I'm not making you any, crazy promises this afternoon, but I'm going to show you how in a second. Just ride with me. So now imagine buying a business that generated 200,000, 500,000, even $1 million a year in income or cash flow without having to double your working hours. Imagine doing that, not in like, I'm going to buy 50 doors and therefore you have 50 closing. No. Doing that in maybe one transaction. Picture that. Picture that. Okay. So today I'm going to share with you 3 secrets. Like I said, secret number 1 is going to be what I call the $1,000,000 cash flow secret, how making big money may be easier than making small money, which I showed you earlier. Okay. And then number 2 is going to be the buy box formula, how to build in such a way, or better, I should probably say, how to buy in such a way that protects your weekends and buys back your time. All right. And then secret number 3 is what I call the same down payment trick. So if you have ever thought about buying real estate or maybe have bought real estate, this one is going to actually like ring very well in your ears because I'm going to show you how for the same down payment, you could possibly generate bigger returns that and not too many people are talking about it. Now, type in the chat, which of these 3 secrets like is ringing in your ears? And like I want to know that one. Like, I want to know that one. Is it 1? Is it 2? Is it all 3? Tell me like which one is like, oh my goodness, I want to hear that one. Okay. Abdul says all 3. Love it. Love it. All right. All right. Number 1. Okay. Ashfan wants to make the money. Yes, I love it. All right. All right. So your time is valuable. At the end of all of this, I will be making an offer to those of you who would like to go further with us. Okay. Those who would like to compress their time to getting results. In fact, some people have actually paid my business partner $100,000 for him to help them do that. We're not doing that today, but before I can have any confidence to invite you to spend any dollar with us, I need to make sure that I've already stewarded the time that you have given me, okay? Your valuable time, your time, which is even more valuable than money, by giving you actual, useful, actionable information, okay? Now, that is my commitment. As I promised to do that, though, I need your full attention, okay? I know you're busy. I know it's Saturday. I know, but I know that if you can give me your full focus for the next hour, turn off Facebook, turn off the distractions. I'm in the basement all by myself. Kids are up, up there. I'm focused. You be focused as well. I promise you will walk away with a completely different perspective on building real wealth. Is that fair enough? Type a yes in the chat if you think it is. All right. So the difference that I'm about to share, because what I'm about to share with you can be the difference between working until you're 75 because you have to, and having the financial freedom to possibly practice medicine or whatever your work or life calling is because you want to. Okay. And so to bribe you to stay until the end, I may have to bribe you. All right. I may have to bribe you. If you stay until the end, I have a free gift that I'm going to send to your email afterwards. And Victoria, please remind me because we have to send the one for Thursday as well. It is my way of basically paying it forward to your own financial future so that you yourself can be transformed. All right. So stay till the end. I have a free gift for you. It's a guide where I kind of put out, it's a very simple guide. It's a very simple guide, but it will just help break things down for you. All right, guys, let's dive in. Okay, perfect. Great timing. All right. So secret number 1, type a 1 in the chat if you're ready for secret number 1. How making big money can be easier than making small money, but nobody has told you. Okay, perfect. All right. A few years ago, I attended an in-person event. It was hosted by a gentleman called Michael Byers. So Michael has been buying businesses for over 20 years. His current portfolio does about $145 million in revenue annually. So basically every year, $145 million annually. He has a portfolio of 22 businesses, and he's a really nice guy, by the way. Those of you who have heard our trainings, you've probably seen him on maybe once or twice because he has agreed to come on a few times. But while I was at his event on day 3, I sat next to a woman named Chelsea. So Chelsea was a busy mom. She was working up the corporate ladder. She had just bought her first business with Michael's help. And I was sitting down with her next, during breakfast that Sunday morning. And she told me that she had bought a coffee shop, that it was her favorite coffee shop. And when she met Mike, basically Mike was like, what would you like to buy? And she was like, a coffee shop? It's like, coffee shop? He's like, all right, anything else? She's like, no, I want to buy a coffee shop. And so he basically worked with her. And they were able to negotiate a transaction with her favorite coffee shop owner. This is a coffee shop where she had built memories with her sister, her kids. Now, by the time I was talking to her, nice. By the time I was talking to her, they had just come off their first full month of owning the business, and she made $30,000 in profit in that first month of owning the business. This is after paying her employees, paying the light bill. This was her own profit. Okay. And guess what? That was no money out of her pocket. And the owner still worked in the business. The owner still worked in the business. And so I'm saying that to myself, dude, like this lady, she has one head. Okay. If you're Nigerian, you probably caught that. Like, but she has one head. She was not superhuman. If she could do it, I'm thinking to myself, like, I can do it too. And that was when I said, you know what, I have to learn this system. Thankfully, by the grace of God, we currently have a deal under LOI with some of our partners. It's like being under contract, okay? But we're buying good, mature, cash flowing businesses, okay? They may be boring, but that's okay. But they're mature businesses. You know, they're not still trying to figure it out. They're cash flowing, mature businesses. So let's see some businesses that are for sale right now. All right. Let's see some businesses that are for sale right now. So these are on BizBuySell. So BizBuySell is one of the websites that you can go and find, you know, live businesses for sale. This is an HVAC business. It's currently doing $1 million in revenue. Cash flow is about $218,000 a year. So this means, so when I say cash flow, this means what the owner is taking home. This means, so after everybody has been paid, this is what the owner takes home. That's what I put here by cash flow. This does not factor in any kind of loan or mortgage type, you know, numbers. This is just like what is net to the owner prior to any kind of debt service or anything like that. All right, so $218,000. They're asking $479. This was off BizBuySell. I think I took this screenshot maybe 4 days ago, 4 or 5 days ago, because we had the last talk on Thursday. All right. So the next one is a printing business in Texas. Their revenue is undisclosed, but at the end of the day, you see, it may not really matter because eventually you will find that out. But their cash flow is $1 million a year. So let me scroll up a little bit and see those people that typed they want to make $100K a month. Okay, so I saw a bunch of 50K, 50K, 50K. Oh yeah, so Mohan right here said 100K a month. So this one will meet that criterion for you because 100K a month is only 1.2 million, right? Or at least this will come close. And they're only asking 2.6 million. So somebody tell me in the chat, will you pay 2.6 million? And let's not talk about how we'll get the 2.6 million just yet. But if you had the option, if you had a way, will you pay 2.6 million if you knew that every year you will get back $1 million? So every year, 1 million, 1 million, 1 million, and maybe even more. Type a 3 in the chat if you would do that deal. Pay 2.6 to get 1 million every year. All right. I'm seeing a bunch of 3s. I'm seeing a bunch of 3s. Oh, hey, Akpai, how are you? Very good. All right. So next one here is an auto repair shop. Again, remember I said boring? Okay. Boring wouldn't make you Instagram famous, but it would. Who would rather be Instagram famous than to churn out money every month? Pick one. Churn. Type churn if you rather churn out money, or you rather be IG famous. Type IG if you want IG famous, right? Because these ones wouldn't make you Instagram famous, but they will give you money. So this one is doing 1.7 million, cash flowing 645 a year. Asking price is 1.5. All right, the next one here, you know, a lot of folks here are medically inclined, right? This one is doing 2.9 million in revenue. Cash flow is 448. They're only asking 750. A few of you that have bought short-term rentals can you see how the numbers are mathing here? 750 purchase price, and their cash flow is 448 a month. In a year and a half, you've paid off the entire amount you used to buy the business in a year and a half. All right. This one is a med spa in Florida. Any Floridians here, or anybody who likes to travel to Florida as a tax deductible activity? Anyone? Right? Because your revenue here is 1.4, your cash flow is 756, and they're only asking 1.4 million. All right. Now, meet Doris. If you are new here, you've not yet met Doris, but you get to meet her now. Doris was our very first lake house, my favorite lake house. It was a gorgeous short-term rental. We bought it for $406,000 in early 2022. And in the years that we held it, this one property generated $87,000 $97,000 for the next 2 years. So in 3 years, like basically coming close to six figures per, like for one property. Now, the the profit on this was roughly about $30,000 a year. And eventually we sold it in January, as you can see on the screen. But I just showed you guys earlier this HVAC business where they're asking just $476. So whereas my Doris, as much as I loved Doris, was generating about $30K in profit, look at how much cash flow a similarly priced business would have given me. $172,000. $172,000 as against 30. Now, when you're out in these internet streets, you hear people talking about, I have 50 doors. This may be what 50 doors looks like. But if you wanted to make 400 cash flow with real estate, and I love real estate, you may need many doors, right? Or you can do one business and in one deal, possibly make 400K in cash flow, $1 million in cash flow. I just showed you. That's the $1 million cash flow, quote unquote, secret, right? That you can buy a business that has the cash flow numbers, historical cash flow numbers, by the way, that's where the number is from, right? That generates these kind of numbers in one transaction. So somebody is asking, how can you be sure the cash flow before the investment? So these numbers come from what the business has done. Okay, so usually it's from an average of the last 3 years. However, I will show you as we go down the line that eventually you have to verify that. That is part of the process when you're buying, to make sure that the numbers that they have done are actual numbers and they're not trying to pull the wool over your eyes. But that's also why we go through a bunch of them, so that we make sure that we're buying a solid business. Okay, so there are a few assumptions here. Assumption is that what they're saying so far, at least just from a screening standpoint, that it at least hits your initial goal before you begin to take a look. Because if your goal is, I want to make 500K in cash flow, and somebody is telling you this business has done 200K in cash flow the last 3 years, should you bother with that business? The answer is no. You keep on moving and go find the ones that are saying they've done $1 million, so that way, if they're off by 20%, then fine, you get to your goal. Make sense? Did I answer your question, Chiffy, by the way? All right, so the vehicle makes all the difference, okay? You can spend your time and money, with things that, they look good, they are good, they have their place in the portfolio. Matter of fact, if you talk to Mike has close to 180 single family homes himself. But what he tells you is he buys the businesses, he owns the businesses, he owns the businesses, and he takes the money from the profit of the businesses and then uses it to buy real estate. So the two walk side by side. It's kind of like owning a car and owning a bicycle, right? The bicycle still serves its purpose, but the day you need to go far, you're going to enter into a car, right? That's kind of how it is with this. So it's not saying that anyone is better or worse. They just serve different purposes. And if you're trying to have a bicycle get you to work in 30 minutes, whereas you could have used a car, you're using the wrong vehicle. All right. So this question actually was just asked by Carmen D. And I'm going to read out her question out loud. She says, I don't want another job. My goal is to work on the business and not in it. You worked right into that one, right? Because one of the biggest fears that people have is that they think when they buy a business, they're buying themselves a job. Listen, if you were distracted, come back to me, okay? If you were distracted, come right back, because you have to hear me well. Whatever you do, do not buy yourself a job, okay? Type it in the chat so that I have proof that you heard it from me. Whatever you do, don't buy yourself a job. Type no job. Type don't buy a job in the chat, okay? Because I can tell you it is tempting. Hey, Tosi, I can tell you it is tempting, because you're going to see on the different platforms, oh, it's just 100K. Don't buy a job. Please don't buy a job. Okay. Now, there's something that I call the buyer's buy box. Okay. And buyers, there is BYARS, no pun intended. Pun sort of intended in this case, but it is basically Michael Byers' formula or simple criteria that helps you filter deals. Remember how I showed you earlier the frame where I said raise your floor? What Mike has done is that based on his 20 years of experience, sometimes painful experiences, he has now learned, I can't be fishing all the way down here. I need to raise my floor. Many deals will fall out. Many deals will not meet the criteria. It may mean that you're searching a little longer, but when you find something that meets that criterion, it's usually good. If you were here during the pre-show, you probably saw me talking to, I think it was Karen or so, that asked about a business doing $2 million in cash flow. Previously, there were many businesses that were showing for sale, but when she said 2 million in cash flow, guess what happened? Only one. And guess what? Now she can look at that one and say, okay, do I want this? Do I not want this? If she wants it, well, now she can zone in and focus on that one. If she doesn't want it, she can just go away, go on to other things, and come back tomorrow and check based on that one criteria. So Michael's buy box here protects both your money and your time so that you don't waste time underwriting businesses that will probably be headaches at the end of the day, but also so that you don't buy yourself a job. Okay, so what are the 5 criteria? Number 1, write this down. Revenue, $1 million to $10 million. That's their top line revenue. Okay. Number 2, the businesses should have 10 employees or more. 3, the profit margin should be somewhere around 25% or more. Or more. Obviously, more is better, right? The business should be at least 10 years old. And the business should have, and Karen, this is your part here, a quarterback to run it. He calls it a quarterback. So let's break it down one at a time, okay? By saying 1 million to 10 million, what it does is he makes the floor 1 million. This means anything that is not making $1 million is not even in consideration at all, okay? He excludes mom and pop companies where it's like, oh yeah, well, the mother, the wife is the cleaner and the husband is the cook, right? Where it's like, if you buy the business, now guess who's cleaner and cook? Yep, you guessed it. You totally guessed it. You are, right? So by staying under 10 million though, what he does is he then avoids competing with private equity firms. So private equity firms, they have a ton of money. They're looking for wherever they can put that money and get their investors, 2% returns. So they don't care about like the actual like juicy profit. I mean, they care about profit, but like they're usually playing it safe. So they will pay higher multiples for the bigger, safer businesses. Okay. And I use safer very loosely, but because yes, the bigger you get, the more like almost like a ship, right? Like they kind of like boom, right? They're just like there. So they're okay with getting like 2% return. But when you get into that 1 to 10 million dollars, multiple things start to happen. Number 1, you can buy them at a low enough multiple. And then when you grow the business, now grow it into private equity range, private equity can now pay you the higher multiple to now exit. That's the game. That's the game that we're looking at. That's the game that Michael Byers plays. Okay. By going above $1 million in revenue, you're also getting more established business. Somebody who has figured out how to make a business generate $1 million a year probably has an idea what they're doing. They're probably not still just figuring it out, okay? Now, when the criterion 10 employees or more, this part, my dear, is what helps you not buy a job, okay? Because if the business, let's just say, has 15 people in the business, right? And then you pay the seller at closing, the seller is gone. Now you have 14 people in the business. The chances of the business continuing as is higher than, say, if the business had 3 people in the business, then you pay off the seller, and now there are 2, and the 2 are like, oh wait, but this guy was the one doing all the estimating. He was the one meeting all the customers. He was the one doing all the things. And guess who's not going to have to do that? You're now the owner, right? So when you have 10 employees or more, right, it reduces the chances that you get called in for small issues. It reduces the chances that you get called in for employee stuff, right? You can now keep the business operating as it was, okay? Keep the business operating in preferably, tip-top shape. If the profit margin is higher, 25% plus, this increases your chances of meaningful cash flow after you pay your debt service, okay? It makes sure that after you make loan payments, you still have decent cash flow left over. Having the business 10 years old or older means that you're buying mature businesses, mature, solid businesses instead of startups. People talk about startups like it's like a beautiful thing, but startups are struggling. Like they're trying to figure it out. These ones, they already have customers. They have vendors. They've tested the market. They've tried different things. You see that, and you're like, when they have a new business, they're still trying to like understand their place in the market. They're still trying to like, figure it out. But the ones that are already established, like they have all those things dialed down. They're just rinsing and repeating every single day. And so then their historical cash flow numbers are more believable because now they've got time. You can kind of see the history and you're like, okay, 2021, you did this, COVID, you did that. You can kind of see the pathway. Like, all right, this looks more reliable than, a startup. Oh, we did like, $1 million in 1 year and then 200 the next year. No. You don't want any of that. 90% of startups fail in 5 years too. So you really don't want to start up. You really don't want to start up. And then I talked about the quarterback. A quarterback, as Mike likes to call them, is a manager in place who runs the business day to day. Okay, it's basically your ticket to what we like to call passive income. I don't like to kid anybody that everything is going to be, just roll over and see money. That's not the mindset you want to bring into anything business related. Think about yourself as the oversight person, okay? But when you have the strong quarterback in place, it really can be like mailbox money. I can tell you when we bought our very first rental property, we lived in Rochester at the time. For the 2 years we owned, we owned the property for 4 years. I probably only saw that property the first 2 years, maybe 3 or 4 times in the 2 years that we lived in the Rochester, excuse me, the 1 year we lived in the Rochester area, and then maybe at some point when it had a fire. But that was because we had a solid property manager, right? In the same way with the business, that if you buy a business that has a solid number 2 in place, you can now focus your energy on being the owner as against being the operator. The quarterback, that person in the business, will be the ones handling all the day-to-day things, all the day-to-day decisions, the buying, the customer issues, right? Hold on 1 second. The buying, the customer issues, all of that. 1 second. And you get to focus more on the empire building stuff, okay? More on the empire building stuff. All right, so if you want to get that screen again, the 5 criteria, by the time you spend enough time with us, you're going to have burned these criteria into your mind, because you'll see in a few minutes when I do the demo, I kind of search for businesses live. I use this filter to just like filter deals just like that. Just filter. Okay, so take your screenshot. All right, because what this means for you is that you can therefore, based on this criteria, generate meaningful income, the cash flow that I showed you earlier, the 400K, the $1 million, the 200K a year, right? Without having to add another 40-hour work week to your schedule. Okay? All right. Anybody still with me? If you're still with me, type a 4 in the chat, because we're about to get to the one that I consider the fun part here. Ooh, love it. All right. You guys are awesome. You guys are amazing. You're awesome. Hey, Delapo, how are you? Okay, I'm seeing a couple on your face, Paula. Very good. Hey, Bridget. Beautiful. Bridget's like, I am so here. I'm going to type foreign words. I love it. Love it. All right. So some of you may be thinking, okay, check this. This sounds all nice and good, but how are we going to pay for it? Anybody? If that was you, only me can see your answers. But if you were like, check, this sounds really cute, but how are we paying for this business again? Love it. All right. I love my people. You guys are just amazing. All right. So this is what I call the same down payment trick that many doctors have not heard of. And I recognize you're not all doctors here, but that's okay. You're family, okay? Just put your name under doctors there. All right. Here is a thing that people don't know. The government wants you to buy your business. Okay. The Small Business Administration will actually let you put down 10% to buy a business up to $5 million. Okay. So this means that you remember this, okay, but the first time I learned that I could put down just 10% on a luxury short-term rental instead of 25%, I was super excited. Okay, because previously, if you look on the left of the screen, you see I was buying inner city duplexes. See how raggedy not raggedy, man, it's not like raggedy, but like compare the left of the screen to the right of the screen. That's the point I'm trying to make. Like those were inner city duplexes, top and bottom, tenants on top and bottom. And then I found out that with the same amount I'd have had to put down for a down payment, I could have been buying a luxury short-term rental. Imagine how quickly I flipped. Okay, I was excited. Now imagine when I found out that with the same down payment, 10% down, I could have been buying a business like the one that I showed you first. Okay, imagine my excitement. So that means that HVAC business that I showed you first, the cash flow, $217,000 in SDE. I could have bought that business for $47,000 down. The same amount, or about the same amount that I would have put down to have bought that inner city duplex. That would only have made me maybe 10K a year. I don't know, maybe even less. Yeah, about what is 8 times 12? Yeah, about 10K a year. Right? So I go from 10K a year in profit on the inner city duplex to 270. Can you see why I am here on a Saturday afternoon with my kids being watched by somebody else? Because you have to see this. You see all these things on social media. Oh, buy this, buy multifamily. Look at the numbers. I'm not bashing multifamily. I'm just saying that for a lot of us, we're not yet at the point where we can afford to ignore 217,000 yet. We are not yet there. A lot of us are not yet at the point where we can say, oh, I'm going to pass on 217. I think I'm okay with just doing $10,000 a year. Am I being a little too real right now? Oh, but I want it to be passive income. Passive income, and you're throwing $200,000 away? I don't know. I don't know. Some of you are rich. I need to stop. I need to stay on task here. The banks want you to buy a business. Okay. The banks want you to buy a business because the government backs 75 to 85% of SBA loans from the bank. This means that once you've paid up to 30% of the loan, the bank is no longer on the hook. Now, you don't default on your loan. That's not what I'm saying. But in terms of risk management for the bank, this is a safer loan for them to do because unlike your primary home, where they are technically on the hook for the entire loan, if you default, the bank has to make up for it. But if for any reason you were to default on an SBA loan, the government backs it up. The government basically almost insures them. So they actually want you to get this loan. Okay. Now, the reason that I harp on this is because of these two things, they're not really interested in you. Yes, they will underwrite and make sure that you are still a good candidate, but what they are more concerned about is about the cash flow of the business. Somebody type cash flow in the comments right there. Type cash flow in the comments. And by the way, Victoria, if you don't mind just taking the questions and putting them on an Excel sheet so that way I can see them, because we may scroll past a bunch of them on later. All right. So the loans are given mostly based on the cash flow of the business. This is why the criteria I gave you earlier becomes the most important, because after all that is done, there has to be cash flow if you're going to use this method of financing to fund the business. Okay, so let's kind of go back to the deals we saw earlier. The printing business, that was 2.6 million, 260K down, 260K down. Now, the medical aesthetics business, $74,000 down. Okay, so will you put down $74,000 to make 390K annually? Because after debt service, right? Who type a 5 in the chat if you'll be happy figuring out how to get $74,000 if it's gonna make you 390K in cash flow annually. Would you mind figuring out how to get 74K? Papa is like, yeah. Absolutely, right? Type of 5, only one person? Okay, someone said, I don't get it. This business asking price is $750,000. An SBA loan will let you put down 10%. So 10% of 750 is 74, 75, right? Depending on if you're a lump or a splitter. Okay? The business, we saw it earlier, is generating 448 in cash flow annually. So this means that when you put your down payment, you get the loan from the bank, you pay the seller, the business is now yours. This business now generates $448,000 annually. Out of that 448, you will make your loan payments. Assuming that is somewhere like 50K a year in your loan payments, you now are making $390,000, but you only put down $75,000. So if you got the 75K from your retirement account, if you borrowed the 75K from your aunt, from your uncle, from your in-laws, guess who you can pay back? Yep, you can pay them back. The business is now yours. Like when I say this, I need to okay, just stop, stay on task. All right. But I have to give you a note about the SBA loans. SBA loans are for US citizens. It caps at 5 million, okay? And US citizens means US citizen has to be a partner in the deal. So if you're not a US citizen, well, you know, there are ways. There are ways. I'm going to show you in a second. But SBA particularly, US citizens caps at 5 million, okay? Which is kind of right in the zone we were looking at anyway. We said 1 to 10 million, right? A term of 10 years for businesses and up to 25 years with real estate, okay? Interest rate 10% is usually, sorry, not usually, as of right now, interest rates are somewhere around 10%, okay? And a personal guarantee is required. Okay, so the question that somebody is asking is, does the cash flow number include payment to staff, employees, rent, and other expenses? Yes. So remember, let's back up for a quick second. Okay. Let's back up for a second. That was a printing business. Let's look at the HVAC business here real quick. Okay, so the HVAC business, if you look at the left of your screen here, it shows gross revenue is $1 million, cash flow is 200. That means that between $1 million and 200, there were $800,000 of expenses. So we're not buying the business based on the $1 million revenue. We're buying the business based on the 200K profit. So yes, your question about if it includes or excludes the payment to staff, employees, rent, and other expenses, that is all in the 800, yes. So the cash flow is truly what you're taking home. The cash flow that they mentioned here is what you have to take home, and out of that pay for your loan, because some people are paying cash for these things, some people are using loans, but that 200K is yours, however you want to do it. Okay, I'm glad you asked that question, because I'm sure somebody else was thinking that too. If you were thinking that and asking that question, type a me too in the chat, and thank what's his name for Abdul for asking that question. All right, very good. So when they say personal guarantee, so the reason I mention personal guarantee is because typically when you own a business, the business is usually owned in an entity that is technically its own person. So when you usually get a business loan, a business credit card, a business anything, they're usually only based on the business itself. So if the business fails, all those things fail with the business too. But the SBA wouldn't let you do that. Okay. The SBA would not let you run a business to the ground and then say, oh, the business failed. No. They require a personal guarantee, which means that if the business fails, you're on the hook for it, which is why we make sure we're not buying businesses that are prone to failing. Okay, which is why we have the high criteria, the high standards, so that we're not buying risky businesses that are likely to fail. Aha! This question always comes, and I'm gonna get it. I'll get to it in a second. Okay, and you know what? This is actually the perfect time to answer it. So somebody is asking, okay, I can feel your wheels turning there, Lola. Okay, because she says, if they're making this much money, why are they selling? I love my people. Yes, great question. Okay. Some people are trying to retire. Some people have owned a business for 50 years and they're like, I mean, it's a great business, but I can't keep doing this. Some people are like, well, it was my father's business. He worked so hard. When he died, I didn't want to close the business, but it's just not for me. So they move on to other things and they're like, but it's a great business. Okay. In some cases, it's death in the family. Like I spoke with a guy recently. He and his son had built the business, and then his son died. And for him, being in the business was just agony because his son was no longer there. And that was why he was trying to sell. For some people, it's divorce. You know, they're going through a divorce, and someone says you need to split the assets, and they're like, well, we have a business, we can't split it. They sell the business. For some people, they're trying to move out of town. They want to go be with their kids down in Florida. Business is in Maine. They've got a team, but they're like, we've run it for 30 years. We might as well just move on. So people sell businesses for all kinds of reasons. For some people, it's a new shiny object, right? Like they've been doing this plumbing thing for 20 years, and now there's AI. And oh my gosh, AI is going to be the next big thing. But like, oh, they have a venture or they have an opportunity, let's say they've run the business, it's making them good money, it's making them, 1 million a year, but now they have an opportunity to buy, a resort. And the resort needs $3 million. And they're like, well, how else can I get $3 million? I can sell the business and I can make $3 million. You see what I'm saying? Like, people sell businesses for all kinds of reasons. And that is why it's our job before we buy, and I'll tell you in a second, to do what is called due diligence. Okay? So we filter, but we also do due diligence to make sure that it is not something more sinister, like any changes in the policy, changes in plan, changes in contracts, etc., that are making somebody want to sell, but that it's actually a good business, because you're not trying to buy a headache. Okay, you're trying to buy a good business that just needs a new owner. All right. Okay. Great question, by the way, Lola. But wait, there's more. Okay, as I showed you the SBA, but there are many other ways to finance a business purchase. Okay, it's like a charcuterie board. Like there's cheese and there's crackers and there's grapes and salami. There are different ways to buy a business, to pay for a business. The one very common one is called leveraged buyouts. Okay, this is when you borrow money from a bank using the assets of the business as a collateral. When I heard this one, oh my goodness, it made me chuckle, it made me happy, it made me laugh, made me smile, because I'm like, are you kidding me right now? So I will buy your business using your equipment as a collateral for the business. It's mind-blowing. I will buy your business using your accounts receivable. Okay, so we're talking about assets like equipment, vehicles, real estate, accounts receivable, things like that. Financing those individual pieces and using that as your source of down payment or as your source of your financing for the business, right? So when you borrow against these, you will then use the cash flow from the business to then pay off the loans over time. All right. Now, strategy number 2 or number 3, if you count the SBA as number 1, partnering with others. So for some of you, when I said, oh, put 74,000 down, or if I said, put 260 down, you may think, well, I don't have 260 sitting in my bank account. That's okay. When I got my first, apartment complex, I didn't even have 900. I didn't even have any money, actually. I put that deal down. It was a 12-unit apartment complex. And by the time we were done, we only had $900 out of our own pockets for that deal. And what happened there was, for every transaction, there are 4 things that you need. You need money, you need time, you need knowledge, and you need credit. I'll say it one more time. You need money, you need time, you need knowledge, and you may need credit. Most people don't have all 4. Most people don't have all 4. So if you don't have the money, maybe you have the time and the knowledge, okay? If you don't have the credit, maybe you have the time or the money. So usually when when you see one thing you lack, go find someone that has the other one. It can be a colleague at work. It can be your friends. It can be, so that first deal that we did, we ended up partnering with 5 other friends, colleagues, now business partners or then business partners, and they brought the money and I ran the deal. You can do the very same thing with business acquisitions. Very same thing. When you partner with people, there are 2 ways you can partner with them. You can partner with them in the form of debt, in which case you owe them. We just did one of these recently on a real estate deal. You can also partner with them for equity. Equity means that they own the deal with you. They ride the highs and the lows with you. Business does well, they also do very well with you. Business doesn't do well, they also go down with you, right? But with the debt, you decide on what their return is and you decide on when you will give them the money back. Okay. So, whether the deal does well or doesn't do well, you owe them money. Okay. So you can partner with people in different ways. And as we're saying this, also be asking yourself, well, if you don't want to be the person doing the deals, can you find someone who is doing deals and then go be their money partner? Okay, these are all ways that you could be thinking about this. Like if you think, oh, well, I don't have money right now, can you learn to do the deals and be the person finding the great deals and bringing the great deals to those that have the money? You see how like you got to get creative with this stuff, right? All right, number 4, seller financing. When I told you that Chelsea didn't have to bring any money into her coffee shop deal, this was part of it. The seller financed the purchase of it. So seller financing is basically the fact that not every seller wants a huge, immediate, and complete payout when you buy the thing from them. Some sellers will not mind holding a loan on the purchase. Okay, this means that they get smaller payments over a longer time frame. This means that their tax liability is spread out, giving them a chance to possibly reduce it. This means that over time, it's like you're giving them a paycheck over time, okay? So I've given you now 4 possible ways you can finance a deal. We've mentioned SBA loans, asset-based financing, partnering with others, seller financing. These are the most common ways. They all have their nuances, obviously. But the thing about businesses is that if you talk to somebody who actually like does deals, they will tell you this is just the beginning of it. In fact, I had a mentor that usually sent out a sheet and he's like, here are 150 ways to finance a deal. 150 ways. Somebody said, how about funding through grants? I told you, 150 ways. If you can think about it, it is probably possible. People do carve-outs, earn-outs, earn-ins, there all kinds of things, okay? But from a very like simple, this is kind of like when you have the Crayola box, and like you can either have the 10 crayon box or the 64 crayon box, right? These are probably the most commonly and easily used, but there are so many ways. So many ways. But the beautiful thing about this is that when you have the tools, acquisition becomes a game. It becomes a puzzle. You now say, how can I fund this deal? I didn't even mention that for some of you with medical practices, you could probably get them for 0% down. I didn't want to mention that, but I was like, I might as well, right? Some medical transactions, particularly if you're a doctor or in healthcare or whatever, you could probably do for 0 down. Okay. Yeah. So when you learn the tools, acquisition becomes a game, becomes a puzzle. Now you don't say, I can't fund the deal, but now you say, how can I fund the deal? All right. So this is now like my favorite part of this session, all right? We're going to take a look at live businesses for sale, but they're going to be businesses in your city. So type in the chat your city. Let's find what's for sale. Love it. All right. I always try to see who's the first, right? So St. Louis, Missouri. Oh, hey, Myron, you're here. Excited about this weekend coming up? Oh, I'm loving. Okay, so let's start with Missouri. All right, I'm going to stop my shares so that I don't break my setup. Let's go here. Let's go to the next screen. Let's find Big Deal Machine. Big Deal Machine. All right. So, Big Deal Machine, where are you? You are here. Share. All right. Very good. Let's make sure you can see my screen. Can you see my screen? Type a yes in the chat if you can. So we're going to start with Missouri. I don't think anybody has mentioned Missouri since we started doing these. All right, the person that typed Missouri, I think 2 of you actually typed Missouri. Can you type in the chat what your actual income goal is? Like, how much a month are you looking for? How much a year would you like to make your floor? Like, if I could get this, I'll be good. Type that number in the chat. Let me see. Okay. So Afshan says $50K a month. So that would be roughly $600,000 annually. So Big Deal Machine, let me tell you a little bit about Big Deal Machine. So I've talked a lot about Michael because, he's my business partner as well as my mentor. I've learned a lot from him. But he was doing his own, okay? This guy is not like he doesn't like online coaching is not his main business is buying businesses. But he's a tech guy too. So he actually had a software built out for his team, right? Because there are many websites that you can find businesses on. And if you spend time going to each one, it's just it'll take your time. So he built a tool that scrapes 847 websites every 4 hours, okay? And consolidates them onto this one tool. With the tool, it's a very simple tool, but it's very effective. You can put in the asking price, minimum, maximum. So let's say you have financial constraints, you can put that in. You can put in your cash flow criteria, your gross revenue, minimum and maximum, your location based on state. You can put in multiple states at a time. And this one right here is my favorite button here, which is listing added within 3 days, 7 days, 30 days, right? So you can filter for when it was added. This is how you get those deals like fast when you don't have that much time. And then you can also add criterion like, let's say you're looking for something specific, like for example, Dr. Dolapo, anyone that does sleep, no. Do you sleep? I forget. No, that's Ronke. I'm sorry, I'm mixing both of you up. But anyway, let's say you already have your existing business, right? You can type in what keyword you're looking for in a business. But okay, going to Afshan's request for Missouri. So now we've put in Missouri and we want at least 50K a month, which comes to about 600K a year. So we filter the cash flow down to 600,000. We'll leave it at listing at any time because right now we're just starting to search. We don't want to limit by when it was listed. And I click, but even before I filter, let me just show you down here real quick. Right now, there are 23,877 businesses for sale. Okay. 23,000 in the United States, 23,000 businesses for sale. Do you think that maybe one of them could be yours? Maybe one out of 23,000. Could one of them possibly be yours? Yeah, there you go. There you go. I love it. You better claim it. Claim it in the chat right there. Claim it if you think that at least one of them, all you need is one. One could be yours. There we go. All right. Love it. Okay, so oops, sorry, 1 second. Got my chat blew up in front of me. All right, so let's see what we got in Missouri. So Missouri 600K. Let's see what we got. So I've given you my 5 criteria. So I'm revenue 1 to 10 million, 10 years older, 10 years or older, 10 employees or more, 25% profit margin or higher, and having a quarterback in place. Usually you may not know about the quarterback part until you really get into things. So honestly, I'm really doing my initial screening with the initial 4 things, okay? All right, so right off the bat, oh, okay. This is a restaurant. I don't do restaurants. Generally, we're generally open and broad, but if you talk to Mike, he's like, I don't do restaurants. He's gotten burned in restaurants a few times and he's like, no, I'm not doing it. So I don't do restaurants either. I'm like, I don't need that kind of work in my life. So let's see. All right, this one. All right. This one, they're asking 900K. Cash flow is 350. Gross revenue is 1. Okay, so the way I normally do it in my head is gross revenue is 1.6, meets our criteria. Cash flow is 350, a little lower than 25%, but still worth a look. And then the asking price is 900. So now people ask, is there a multiple? Is there a thing? Normally, I personally like to be somewhere around, 3x, 4x maybe, but usually around that 3x or lower. So basically 3 times whatever the cash flow is kind of where I would like to be with an asking price, not accounting for real estate and or, heavy equipment, okay? So this one I will consider, except it has only 4 employees. So this one will be a no for me, all right? This one, wholesale party favors company. Gross revenue is 16 million. Cash flow is 2.2. So the doctor that was asking for 2 million in cash flow, this will probably have met her criterion. They're only asking 3x of the cash flow. It looks decent. I would like to know, though, what makes it that their cash flow to gross revenue is on the lower side. So I will take a look at this to kind of see what this factor is. But I like the cash flow number. I like the employee count, but this will not be a slam dunk just yet until I understand why they're only somewhere around 15% in profit margins. Maybe because it's a product-based business, maybe that's why. All right, keep going, keep scrolling down. All right, where are my doctors here? Listen, you don't have to be a doctor to buy these businesses, okay? But I'm just calling out, doctors because we are seeing a regenerative non-surgical pain treatment center. I'll take a look at this one if it were close enough, right? They don't say what their revenue is, but their cash flow is 1.1 and they're only asking 1.2 million. Basically, they're asking 1x. But guess what? It's for new. So my guess is that this business is probably not even, it has 15 employees. Let's see. Oh, new area development. So it's not even an existing business. So these are just like thoughts and prayers. We're not doing that. All right. Let's see. So we're still in Missouri here. So let's see. Okay, look at this one here. Okay, this one they're asking a little too high. This is like 5x. So I'm just gonna skip. This one has only 3 employees. We'll skip. Okay. All right. Okay, they're asking too much here. Let's see number 2 here, page 2. What just happened? Hold on. Did I not filter the first time? Hold on, let's go back. Maybe I didn't put the filter before. Is that what happened? All right, let's filter again, 600. Okay. Um, okay, this one. After this one, we'll go on to the next one. So see this one here. This says wholesale of niche goods with, some amount of square space. 10 employees, revenue is 8.7, which we like. Cash flow is 1.3, which I also don't mind. And they're asking maybe 4x of their cash flow. I'll take a look at this one. I'll take a look at that one. Let's see what else we have here. All right, this one is in St. Louis. Well-established and highly profitable sales and service. I don't know what that means, but we'll take a look at the details here. They're doing 4.1 million in revenue. Cash flow is 800. They're only asking 1.1. So basically asking 1x, a little over 1x. And you can then, so when you do that, you can then click here and then go to the actual place where it was listed. So when you go to the actual place where it was listed, you will then see where you can contact the broker, send them a message and say, send me your NDA. You say, send me your NDA, and then they'll then send you all the full information. But to kind of answer the last question that was asked, this says, now available for immediate sale due to the owner's retirement. So you see the question of, why are they selling is right there. All right. So let's see another city here. Let's see what other city was mentioned. All right. Let's scroll down. Oh, hey, Avia. Where are we? Okay, so that was Missouri. Let's do Florida. And that was for Carmen. Carmen, tell me what your cash flow goal was again. If you don't mind, I forgot. So let's go to Florida. All right. So, okay. All right. So, you know what? We'll just stay at this 50K a month because I think many people are typing in that 50K a month. So let's just stay at the $600,000. So Florida, let's see what we can find here. Gross revenue 1, cash flow 1 million. This is a gas station. Asking price 1.7. So you need to get $170,000. It has 8 employees. Can you do without 10 employees at a gas station? Probably. You'll probably be fine, right? High call volume. This is a funeral home. If you don't mind a funeral home. Gross revenue 3.6, cash flow 875, asking price 4.5. People die, right? Let's see. Okay, let's see this one that has 45. Okay, 45 employees. I love event rental businesses. I love those. They're pretty solid. So 45 employees down here. This is on the right of your screen, by the way. 45 employees, gross revenue 4.1, cash flow is $1 million, and they're only asking 3.5. That's a 3.5x. Not bad at all. That's not shabby at all. So if you had this tool, you basically click a few details, you go to the website, you paste in your request with the broker, talk with the broker, you get their numbers, get their package, make them a preliminary offer. And if they say yes, then you go into your due diligence period. All right. I'm gonna do one. No, I'll do one more. All right. Oh my goodness, did I just see Harlingen, Texas? I was down in Harlingen last year looking at an event rental business for sale. All right. So that was West Palm. All right, so let's do Atlanta. Atlanta was the next one. I usually go in order of, people ask for these. Actually, no. Atlanta is not the next one. Houston is the next one. I apologize. Houston. All right, so I missed Houston, so I'll do Houston. So I'm gonna do Texas here. All right, let's see what we got here. So in a moment, I'm gonna tell you how you can get your hands on Big Deal Machine, by the way. So if you wanna wait and you hear that. All right, so let's see what you have here. So Houston, this chat thing, I love the chat, but right now it's in my way. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so see this one here. Well-reputed, that's the second on the screen. Well-reputed DFW. Oh, this is DFW, not Houston, but it's in Texas. Gross revenue 3.2, cash flow 600. They're only asking 1.5. That is less than 3x. They've got 10 employees. Let's see if there's anyone that says it's actually in Houston. I can't promise I'll find Houston. Oh, there's Houston. Oh, there's Houston right there. All right. Oh, extremely active, profitable OBGYN clinic in West Houston. It's got 13 employees. Their gross revenue is 1.4. Their cash flow is $600,000, and they're asking 1.2. So they're only asking 2x, which is great, right? So if any of you were looking for an OBGYN clinic, if you were thinking of maybe starting out your own practice, or maybe you're a pediatrician, you want to kind of own your source of babies, right? You can go buy something like this, hire a colleague to run it or to be the doctor in it while you own it, and you could possibly buy this for $0 down. Okay, all right. So, I mean, can you see how powerful knowing this kind of information can be? Right? So if you were looking, so someone is asking, can you filter by business type? Yeah, like if you wanted to only find law firms, you could use law firm as your filter. Okay, the way that I usually don't put a ton in the filter, honestly, because sometimes you can't really predict how people will list the businesses. Like, there's no rule that says that somebody writing, about a legal firm will use the word law firm. Yes, Carmen, it pulls all the data from all the business selling platforms. Yeah, let me put it this way, from 847 business selling platforms. There are the big ones like BizBuySell, there are smaller ones, and there are some lesser known ones that every now and then, something will pop up under, all right? But can you see how powerful having access to, having a tool like this, having, even the knowledge of acquisitions, can be to your life goals, right? Can you see how knowing this can accelerate your goals? Type a 7 in the chat if your wheels are turning, if you're starting to kind of see, oh my goodness, that goal that I thought was like way out there may actually not be that far away, right? Can you see? But now we've talked a lot in the last in the last hour plus, right? What is it now? 90 minutes. Let's recap all that we've covered so far. Let's recap what we've covered so far. So we began the journey by talking about, the dilemma of the doctor, of the high earning professional, where you're already successful, but you're currently trading time for money with no real path to passive wealth that doesn't require more of your precious time. I shared the $1 million cash flow secret, and I showed you live. You all even saw it. You saw businesses that are doing $400,000 in cash flow, and we just saw one that is doing $2 million in cash flow. So you basically pick where you want to fall, right? I also showed you how you can do in one transaction as against 50 doors or 50 different things going on around you, right? Then I gave you the buy box formula, the one that protects you from working weekends. Right? I gave you the 5 criteria that we used, the revenue, the profit, the age of the business, the number of employees, and the quarterback in place. I even showed you different ways you could possibly finance the businesses, including the SBA 10% down. And I even mentioned the possible $0 down for doctors buying medical businesses, right? So I've shown you a completely different path to building wealth that may not require you to work crazy long hours or sacrifice your time with family, as long as you can focusing and get it done. Would you say so far that our time together has been valuable? Type an 8 in the chat if you would say so. Type an 8 in the chat. Okay. All right. Very good. Did you learn something new? Did you learn something new? Type a 9 in the chat if you learned something new. Type a 9 in the chat. Love it, Havadine. Love it. Yes. Can you see how this could help you hit your goals faster? Type a 10 in the chat if you can see how this could possibly help you hit your goals faster. Love it. All right. Now, is your mind, anybody here, your mind is like spinning? You can't like sleep tonight? Oops. You will sleep and you'll be in perfect peace, but you dream of great numbers, all right? type an 11 in the chat if your mind is like, woo! Yes, IJ. Love it. Now, would you agree that having a step-by-step system will give you a huge advantage over having to try to figure this out all on your own? Type a 1 in the chat. Let's go back to 1. Let's just use simple numbers now. Would you agree that having a step-by-step system will give you a huge advantage? Okay. And by the way, I'm seeing a bunch of 1s. I'm seeing a bunch of 1s in the chat. Is it fair to say that learning from someone whose current acquisitions generate over $145 million annually will be smarter than having to start from scratch? Type a 2 in the chat if you'll agree. Right? Yeah. I'll type a 2. Yes. Now, would you love to have the exact template software and even network that even Mike, he's not here today. He's actually at a mastermind this week, and I decided not to bother him for this one. But we like to have the tool, like even like the big deal machine and stuff that I mentioned, and a network of people doing deals. All right, so you have 2 choices. You've got 2 choices, right? You could either, I have confidence. Listen, I told you I wasn't holding anything back. I've showed you can do it on Big Deal Machine. You can do it on BizBuySell, right? You can do it with SBA. You can do it with partners. I showed you the possibilities that could literally get anybody. Basically, you can go out there, do it on your own, figure it out, get your own buy box. I showed you the criteria. But if that was your only option, it'll be a worthy path. But what if there was another option? An option that actually allowed us to go at this together, okay, help you skip trial and error. Instead of spending the next 2 years trying to figure this out, through trial and error, you could learn the system that Mike has used to acquire over $145 million worth of businesses. Possibly avoid costly mistakes by using a proven roadmap, get direct feedback even in the process. Even as you're getting started. Now, that's what I want to offer those of you who will be interested in hearing that. If you would like to hear about what that offer is, type a 3 in the chat. Let me be sure that you actually want to hear it. Okay, I'm asking your permission before I go ahead. Okay, all right. All right, I'm seeing a bunch of 3s come in. Okay. Because the difference between people who succeed at business acquisition and those who just think about it is usually about taking action on proven systems instead of having to reinvent the wheel. So the question is, are you ready to take action on a proven system? Because if you are, what I'm about to show you may easily be the best investment in your financial future you have ever made. And I'm very careful with my words. It could be. I'll say that and I'll say could be. Okay, because I don't know what investments you've made, right? But it could be. It could be. For the last few months, I've been working with Mike to create something that may never have existed before, which is a complete experience that takes professionals like me and you, doctors, and other professionals, right, from knowing nothing about buying a business to confidently evaluating, financing, and purchasing your first cash flowing business. And that, my friend, is the catalyst. It's with great pleasure then that I like to introduce you to the Catalyst Business Acquisition Bootcamp. It's my drum roll right here, right? Type a 4 in the chat if you're excited, right? But before I show you what you're going to get and how this could possibly transform your financial, let me show you kind of how this approach came to be. For the last 10 years, you guys know me. I have been on the internet for a while now. I'm not new in this space. But for the last 10 years, I did what everyone said was, the path to wealth. I bought real estate, rental properties, duplexes, multifamily. I flipped homes. I did short-term rentals. I did rental arbitrage. I had no regrets, just the pathway. Okay. But as time went on, I kind of realized that people kept saying, okay, but Chia Ghazi, this property is only going to make $20 a month. And I'm like, yeah, but then that's fine because we're building long-term wealth. But after a while, I'm like, okay, seriously, let me even ask them. And so that was when I moved from the long-term rentals to the short-term rentals because those ones made even more. But the more I did my search, I'm like, hold up. When I learned about business acquisitions, it hit me like a lightning bolt. It's like, so use the same down payment and I could make significantly more. Like, why would I keep talking about the other thing? Right? That one move could replace my entire income with one single transaction, right? It almost felt like somebody had been hiding something from me, okay? And I felt that people weren't talking enough about it. My job to talk about it, okay? I had to called Acquire Your Freedom. It was in November last year. I brought a bunch of speakers, people that some people knew, some that were new faces. But as we were talking, people were asking, like, got a course, got a program? Like, can we just not like just talk about this and like, can we learn this stuff? They're like, we want more. And that was when I reached out to Michael Byers. I said, hey, because Mike, I knew at the time, had done over 50 deals himself. I knew his portfolio did about 145, and then it was 140, but now it's $145 million annually. And I was like, hey, you want to teach something? And he's like, sure. Right? Because I would rather have somebody with experience teaching this than people going out there and learning from the internet streets and learning from people that have just, that don't know what they're talking about, frankly. And he agreed to partner with me to create something that I haven't seen this anywhere yet, but really he had a systematic approach for buying cars for business, them that actually worked without him having to work in the operations. He runs 22 businesses, okay, with a quarterback in place, using traditional and creative financing. And what I had, okay, was you all, okay, a community of doctors and professionals who were hungry, willing, ready to learn. And I said, let's bring this to our people because our people need this now. Okay. With what private equity is doing, with what all these, medical establishments are doing to doctors, I'm like, we need to own our own bank so that the day you need to be like, I'm sorry, but that does not work for me, you're not saying it and crying in your heart and sitting there because you're like, but I need my paycheck. That you can be free to practice medicine on your terms, with joy and gladness because you can. Okay. So there are 4 components in my mind to mastering business action. First part there is, I'm going to break it down. Okay. So imagine this, that you walk into a room and 90% of the buyers are fighting over the same mediocre deals. And just for a quick second, is my sound glitching? Because I'm kind of seeing myself glitching. If it's glitching, type of glitching upstairs. All right. Because if it's glitching, I'm just going to move up, because this is very important and I don't want anybody to miss it because the internet decided to act up. Just give me. I'm seeing myself. I'm going to see when the lag stops. You may hear some sound for a second, but I'm going to let them know that I'm not done yet. No, I'm not done yet. I knew she was going to ask. All right, just changing location so that. All righty. Welcome to the layer. Okay. Some things are too important to not let hold on. All right, I left my mic there, so just confirm you can still hear me. Great. Okay. Are we better now? Yep. This looks much better. All right, very good. Good. So imagine walking into a room where 90% of the people I'm send for honey again. My voice just one quick second so she can grab me honey again. Just give me a second. My voice is Yolua, please bring me the honey again. All right. Imagine. I'm gonna let her know that it's downstairs. I forgot to grab it. All right. Still recording? Yes. All right. So imagine walking into a room where 90% of the buyers are fighting over the same mediocre deals. Meanwhile, you walk out, you slip out the back door. Hold on. I'm about to have a coughing fit. Stop. 1 second. All right. So imagine walking into a room where 90% of the buyers are fighting over the same mediocre deals. Meanwhile, you slip out the back door, um, and go meet sellers who haven't even gone public yet. Thank you. Close the door. Um, this is what happens when you learn the first step in acquisition mastery, which is having your own way to create deal flow rather than depending on a broker or the market. In the deal flow creation system that you'll be getting at the Catalyst Business Acquisition Bootcamp, you're going to learn how to master the public marketplace. Okay. This means you learn how to maximize your time on the different platforms without getting lost in the noise or overpaying. You learn how to activate your own professional networks and business advisors for your own to become your own personal deal scouts. You're going to learn how to find off-market sellers, um, and effectively like find the business owners before they decide to sell and position yourself as their preferred buyer. And then you learn how to build a referral system. Okay, so just imagine this: you're having lunch with a colleague. Their accountant mentioned that someone is thinking of retiring. So you pull out your pen and paper, and you know exactly what questions to ask, how to position yourself, how to turn the casual conversation into a qualified deal opportunity. So this means no more having to hope for the perfect business to magically appear online. Now you basically create opportunities wherever you go. This is the difference, okay, between being at the mercy of the market and being the one who creates the market. Okay, wouldn't you love to never have to ask again, where are all the good deals? Type a four in the let's do four. Type a four in the chat if you would like to never have to ask again, like, where are all the good deals, right? Imagine them coming to you consistently. So the first pillar you're going to learn at the bootcamp is the deal flow creation system. Okay, how to effectively like decide what you're going to buy, refine your buy box, and then go out there and create your own basic your own deal flow system. All right. Now we've already talked about things like the SBA loan and the seller financing and all the things earlier, right? So at the bootcamp, you're going to learn basically how you can access the same strategies that Fortune 500 companies are using, like having a full instrument tray of financing tools so that you pick the strategy that matches the occasion. And I particularly like the way Michael teaches this part because he doesn't teach you, 150 ways. He teaches you the 10 that he uses, right? Like you don't go into like anesthesia, for example, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna use the entire Pyxis. No, no, no. You're gonna use your propofol, your etomidate, your rocuronium, your sugammadex. That's what I'm saying. Like you will learn the actual things that you actually use on a day-to-day basis so that you can get to work quickly. All right. So introducing advanced acquisition financing, right? So you learn seller financing mastery, how to make the seller the bank for your deal, how to pitch it, how to talk about it, how to structure your conversations, tips to optimize your chances of becoming bankable. Those of you who are already enrolled, like I see your VAs on here, you were there on Saturday 3 weeks ago when we had the Ask Michael Anything session, and the guy was asking about how he could become, how he could, effectively get credit or whatever. And Mike gave him a tip. Mike has this like tips he pulls out from. I'm like, oh my goodness, like what don't you have tips about, right? Every time we've done stuff together, he always pulls out some interesting, like knickknack type, like hidden secret rich man type, tip that I'm like, oh, I'm keeping that one. I'm keeping that one. So you learn creative deal structures, as well as how to optimize your deal for cash flow, right? Because when you have all these things, the deal has to cash flow at the end of the day. Now, picture this. A seller wants 1.1 million for a business that's netting $400,000. You only have 90K, okay? Instead of you walking away and like, well, I only have 90K, that's it. You're like, no, let's structure this properly, right? How about you carve out the equipment, have the seller finance a portion of that, and then you can now do your 90K down, finance this by the SBA. So now you're like now like slicing and dicing, wheeling and dealing, and you understand this because you now know the different elements of your toolkit that make the deal still cash flow. Okay, that's the key. Whatever you're doing, the deal still has to cash flow at the end of the day. So when everything is said and done, you didn't have to cough up $1 million. You didn't have to find an extra 20K, but you were able to now generate more profit than most people have in their salaries. This, my dear, is Fortune 500 thinking. All right. So you're gonna have a toolkit, okay? You're gonna learn your business financing toolkit so that you can stop thinking, dude, I can't afford that business to, hmm, how can we structure a deal? So at the Catalyst Bootcamp, you're gonna learn how to finance your deals in a strategic way. All right. Now, somebody already asked that question on here today, but you know what really terrifies most people about buying deals? It's not the money. It's not even quote unquote, oh, I'm going to work too hard, right? It's that sinking feeling of, what if I'm missing something critical? All right. And that sometimes paralyzes people. They try to analyze everything and they end up taking forever, not actually getting deals done. Others, on the other hand, they're like, oh, I know everything. And so I'm just going to just go buy anything. Like, I don't care about the buy box. Like, I'm smart. Sure. Sure. How about it, right? The difference between buying a gold mine and getting stuck in a money pit is usually knowing what to look for. All right. So we're going to be teaching you a due diligence framework. You're going to get critical questions checklist, a due diligence checklist, so that you can know the 50 or so questions that Mike asks and has his team make sure that they've asked as they're looking at every deal, so that way, like, you know what questions to ask, what to look for. You're going to learn how to look at the numbers. Anybody here an accountant? If there's an accountant here, that'll be the anomaly because usually in most of my things, it's usually a ton of non-accountants. Okay, anybody here not an accountant? Type a six in the chat. Type a six in the chat. Okay, because one of my favorite things to actually do when we host these things is to teach you how to look at the numbers, okay, from a non-accountant point of view. All right. So you have to learn as part of your due diligence how to look at the numbers, how to see, read between the lines, look at financial statements to uncover the real story behind the numbers, to ask the questions that make the broker go, oh, yeah, in 2023, they did have an issue. Oh, really? You didn't think to tell me that beforehand? Uh-huh, yeah, right. Um, and then you also learn how to master like asking the questions that let you understand what the actual staffing is like. Like, are they gonna stay? Do they want to leave? Like, what's their actual allegiance? Is their allegiance more to you than to the business? Like, what's the skinny on this? Okay. And then to also understand the position of the business in the marketplace. Now, we're talking here like, is this business thriving because of trends? Like, is it like a fidget spinner type business, or is this a real solid business? Are they trying to like bail? Like I saw a company a few months ago, maybe 3 months now. They were trying to sell an AI automation company that was like, I don't know, maybe a year and a half year old, for like $2 or $3 million. I'm like, you're trying to bail. They have ridden the AI wave up and they are trying to bail. I'm like, most of what they were doing when they began like a year and a half ago, ChatGPT can probably do in like, I don't know, 2 minutes right now. No, no, thank you, not buying, right? Of course, I brought it to Mike and Mike was like, yeah, no, we're not doing, no, no. Mm-mm. So yeah, some businesses can look perfect on paper, but when you learn how to ask the right questions, within 30 minutes, you can uncover that 60% of the revenue is coming from one client and that contract is expiring, their top salesperson is leaving, a major competitor just moved in. So that while other people are excited and they're making offers, you're like, peace, yo. Not that one. Not that one. Now, type a seven in the chat. No, right? See ya. Um, type a seven in the chat. Wouldn't you like to have that detective level confidence in every deal? All right, so we have one more pillar that I want to show you, right? And that is probably the most important pillar, and that is operations. Who's gonna run this thing, right? Some people think of this and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get so stressed out. But think about it. Like when Warren Buffett buys Coca-Cola, he doesn't show up to run it. He's got people. He puts the right people in charge. He gives them clear goals, clear metrics, and then he collects the cash. That is where we're trying to get you to, where you are the person that is owning the business, right? Not operating the business. So at Catalyst Bootcamp, you're going to learn the hands-free business growth system, okay? You're going to learn how to find and train the right managers. This will naturally be in the form of like given a document. Simple tracking systems, easy growth strategies, like numbers that you can look at and be like, okay, what is their customer acquisition cost? Where can we reduce this? So what I'm saying, like you will learn how to think in numbers so that you can basically like spot the boo-boo, right? Does anybody remember, if and if you're not in medicine, don't hate me right now, but just for a second, during like maybe third year of med school, you kind of played this game in neurology, like where's the lesion? Is it like upper motor neuron or lower motor neuron? Basically, you will get that degree of diagnostic accuracy, clearly over time, but at least you will know where to start looking when you leave the boot camp, okay? And then, of course, how to build a sellable business. Now, one of my favorite quotes that Mike has that I like to refer to is he likes to say, it's not the $1 million that you make every year that matters in this. And I'm like, give me the million first and then we can talk. For him, it's what you make on the sale of the business that actually rings in the bank. Because he's done this long enough that he knows that, yes, it's good that it makes $1 million and that's what gets me excited and gets the doctors excited. But on his end, this the more experienced end of thing is that when you let's say you buy a business, let's say you bought a business that cost you $1 million to buy. The business was doing 300K in profit annually, not too shabby. You get in there, you implement a couple of growth strategies. You take that business from, let's just say, 1 million a year to possibly, let's just say, $3 million a year, possibly, let's say in the next 2 years. On that 3 million, assuming you maintain the same margins, you're now doing, $1 million in profit. You bought that business for 3x. Now that you're doing $1 million in profit, you could possibly sell it for 4x or 5x. So now you can sell that business for, let's just say, $5 million. Now you bought it for 1 million, even at fair price. You don't have to beat the seller down. That's the beautiful thing. You don't have to beat the seller down. You buy it at their asking or whatever, but now you're selling it at 5 million. You're making a $4 million profit in a 2-year window of optimizing your operations. That is, my dear, where the money is made. It's called an arbitrage of multiples. You buy at a low multiple at like a 2x, 3x, 1x multiple, and then you can sell at a higher multiple because you have made the business more profitable. This part is why I talk about this stuff, because you can see that by simple changes and simple things, you can literally build generational wealth in a couple of strategic moves. Okay? So now imagine this, that the business that you bought 18 months ago, right, is chugging along. You're in the OR, in the pre-op area. You're waiting for turnover. You check your phone, and your business manager has just sent you a monthly report. Okay, things are looking good. They're asking, should we open up another location? And you're like, sure, let's do it. Right? You check, and your annual cash flow from that business is like 525. close to your salary. Now you're deciding, you're like, I'm gonna just do this one more year. Maybe we can cut back and just do locums. Maybe we can, can you see the life options that this can give you? Now you don't have to take every single gig that comes your way. You can choose to cut back. Heck, if you just love the hustle, you can continue working if you like, because guess what? You have a manager in place, right? So this is what we're going to be bringing you. The deal flow creation system, advanced acquisition financing, okay? Pre-acquisition due diligence, and a hands-free business growth system. Now, when I say hands-free, I don't mean you ignore the business and expect it to just grow. I mean, you'll be focused on oversight while other people are the hands and feet running the business. Okay? So, I like to say this here. When you come for the boot camp, now the boot camp is, guess what? It's next week. It's September 12th through the 14th. Okay? You have an opportunity to actually be in the room. It's both in person and virtual, and some of you are going to pick one or the other. Okay, but if you choose to be in the room, which I highly recommend, you get face-to-face mentorship with Michael. I've talked about him a lot on this call. You get interactive deal workshops with immediate feedback. You get exclusive networking with vetted professionals, and but then you can now you may be asking, okay, Chad, this sounds really good, but what is this worth? What is this worth? Anybody here drive a Tesla? Type a T in the chat if you drive a Tesla. And I know you may hate Elon Musk. That's okay, right? Okay, there we go. There's at least one person. All right. Um, how much do your tires cost? How much do your tires cost again? They told you, and they said buy a Tesla. It will be nice until it came time to replace those tires, right? Tesla tires. We're talking here. I looked this up last night because I was like, you know what? I have to use the Tesla example. Look at this tire package, 4750, right? For tires. Car tires, right? Or think about your summer. How much money did you have to spend on your summer vacations if you traveled somewhere? Just type a number in the chat. Was it less than 10,000 or more than $10,000? If it was more, type more in the chat. If it was less, type less. All right. If you had to do a half day consultation with Mike, he charges $25,000 for that. Okay. Okay, great. He charges 25K for a half day consultation, right? So over 3 full days, like we'll be having, on Saturday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If you had to pay Mike for 3 full days of his time, you're gonna be paying $150,000. And honestly, he probably wouldn't take that meeting for a brand newbie, right? Oh, I still left this thing this way. But now you'll be in the room with other professionals who are going to be, with the same goal with you of buying a deal. Okay, but so instead of the regular 50K that you could have otherwise had to pay Mike, to possibly be in a room like that, we initially put the price of Catalyst Bootcamp at 5K, and people actually signed up. Like it did happen. Okay. Now, and that is because it's absolutely worth it. By the time I show you, you see exactly, like, I'm not even mincing words or blowing anything up anyone. But today, what I'm doing for the serious professionals right here on this webinar, and those of you who are already in, I got you. Don't worry. Don't even. I'm with you. Right here. All right. But the people that are on this webinar, people that are gonna, basically people that are serious about getting this done, people that understand the value of immediate action when they see a critical opportunity. And I'm having to kind of like placate my people that have already signed up, because like what I'm about to do, I literally had to like pause and think, like, should we actually do this? Like, is this actually a good idea? Is this actually a good idea? Like, I talked to people, I talked to my husband, I talked to my dad, listen, I even like put on this and then like, All right. So making a special arrangement for the webinar promo period. All right. Webinar promo. You can secure your spot in the Catalyst Bootcamp for $29.97. Okay. That includes your choice of, hold on one second, I'm gonna put this in the chat. So Victoria, I'm gonna paste this in the chat. And when you paste it the next time, please make sure that it is the way that I put it. Oh, hold on. Let me make sure it's clickable actually. No, I typed it the wrong way. All right, let's see. HTTP. Catalyst. So it is. Here we go. Okay. Somebody click that and tell me that it actually clicks, please. All right. So for a very limited time, limited time, you can secure your spot in the Business Acquisition Bootcamp for $29.97. Okay, $29.97. And that includes your choice of in-person in Syracuse, okay, or where you're going to get full access to the networking, face-to-face mentorship with Michael Byers, the complete intensive training, virtual VIP, or you can do the virtual VIP experience. With the virtual VIP experience, you get all the training, everything really, as though you were in the room. You get to ask questions as though you were in the room. You just wouldn't be able to actually, like, meet Michael, like flesh and blood, have dinner or whatever, right? Now, if you have a business partner, like we have done in the past, you can also come in with a business partner at a discount. Okay. And basically, it's 5K for the two of you. All right. The choice is yours. All right. But you kind of have to decide now because the event starts on September 12th. And if you know what date it is, what day is it right now? It is September 6th. You kind of have to make a decision. And the webinar pricing expires in about 48 hours. And I say about because, if you actually do the math, it's like 56 hours because it's Monday evening at 9 p.m. That pricing goes away. It goes away. We've already told the hotel to plan for a certain number of people. If we have more, we may need to expand it, but this is not a 1,000 person conference. This is an intimate gathering of professionals. This is an intimate gathering of professionals. We've been talking about this for the last 4 months, okay? So it's not surprising that some people haven't heard about it until today, but that is why we keep doing this, because somehow the internet doesn't show it to everybody at the same time. So what did I say you're going to be getting? Okay, the deal creation system, advanced acquisition financing, pre-acquisition due diligence system, autopilot growth system. You're going to make rich connections. And for the medical folk in the room, you'll also be, Philip and Doe is going to be there to teach about buying medical practices. All right. So this is the link. It's go.catalystbootcamp.com. Please make sure that you use the link exactly like it is typed, HTTP without the S, slash, two slashes, go.catalystbootcamp.com. Now, if for any reason, okay, you absolutely cannot attend in person, then I say go for the virtual. Go for the virtual. The virtual VIP option, it gives you the complete experience. When you check out, both options are on the same button. Like it's the same button, okay? It gives you the same complete experience. Now, usually when you attend these like trainings and people are offering you some kind of a course or a widget or something, you're like, oh yeah, in 14 days, you get money back. No, 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 no. This is not, we're not playing around here, okay? This is for people that want to learn from somebody with a proven track record, get direct access to Mike, immediate implementation, and building a lifetime network, honestly. All right. And because we're not offering any refunds on this, right? That means that when you show up, the people in the room are serious people that are actually ready to learn, people that are ready to learn, not tire kickers, people that are ready and committed to taking action. We're also very confident in the value that we're bringing to ensure that everyone walks away, having not just gotten their money's worth, but gotten multiple times the worth of what they paid to come in. Okay. We also want to make sure that you actually implement, because when there is commitment from your part, you tend to implement as things go on, as against just collecting more information. All right. So when you leave Syracuse, so it's going to be in Syracuse, New York, if you come in person. Syracuse, New York is accessible from any major airport. Usually you can be in really anywhere. Like we have a pretty solid airport here. When you leave on the 14th, you're gonna have a clear action plan for your first acquisition. You're going to have the confidence to evaluate and structure your first purchase. You're going to have a group of peers because you would have met people, right? You can take their phone numbers. You're going to have protection that really lasts for a lifetime and not just 30 or 60 days. The bottom line is every investment carries risk. The question is, what is riskier? Spending $29.97 to learn from someone with a $145 million track record, or continuing what you're doing, hoping that traditional investments will somehow create the financial freedom that you need. The real risk, really, I find, is doing nothing. And I hope there's nobody under the sound of my voice right now that'll choose to do nothing, because that is really risky. But wait, there's more. Give me a second. Let me get my trusty little honey thing because my voice is taking a. Just wait a second. There is actually more. All right. Because while the 3-day training, I mean, as you can see, I just showed you, you'll be learning all these like crazy, crazy, amazing things. For just $29.97. I can't even say that, love. Give me a second. Well, the 3-day training alone will be absolutely worth the investment. And I say that without even whatever. We're not stopping there. You're gonna get access to a bunch of bonuses. Yeah. Be getting access to these exclusive bonuses. Drum roll, drum roll. Big Deal Machine. So you guys saw the software that I used to show you the different cities that we looked at. The one that scrapes all the websites, that puts it all in one place. So we only have to go to one place that's against 50 or 847. You're going to get 6 months of access to Big Deal Machine. So when Michael built it for himself, people were asking him if they could use it. He's like, sure, sure. He'll give it to them for $800 a month. He currently retails for $800 a month, and he currently has over 200 users on the platform. But you, my dear, are gonna get this for $4,800. No, 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 no. The value is $4,800. You're gonna get it for free when you sign up for the bootcamp. Okay? So even with this alone, you just got an $1,800 gift. Okay? Even with just this one bonus. Just this one bonus. And I'm seeing your questions come in the chat, and I'll answer them. I'll answer them in a second. Okay. So, like I said, Big Deal Machine scrapes 847 websites every 4 hours. You can be the first to sell because you're able to filter deals that just showed up in the last 3 days, last 7 days, last 30 days. Just by that alone, you can be first to the seller. If you were here earlier, you may have seen when I was trying to find a deal and it was coming up as pending. Imagine if you saw that business before whoever bought it and got it under contract. All right. So you can also save the deals that you find. So it can help you keep track of what deals you have requested information on. I've used it for this every now and then, not too often. I primarily use it for being able to use it to filter deals. So this is what Mike uses to close his deals that are worth millions, and you get access to it for 6 months. You get it for free when you join today. All right. So, so the Blackboard, to answer your question, we are under contract on ours. Yep. The deal document vault. The deal document vault is I'll value it at $5,000. So this deal document vault, when you actually are in the middle of a deal, the deal is making sense, it's looking like you're gonna go forward. With acquisitions, what you call it is called, you write a letter of intent. It's the same thing as like an offer letter. Usually you would want to have some people will have an attorney write it, but you write a lot of these that you're like, Mike has a template for this stuff. All right. So he has a vault, he has a folder, Google Drive, right? of documents that he uses for different points in his transactions. And he was like, you know what? I can give them the vault. And I'm like, amazing, right? So letter of intent templates, due diligence checklist, operations documents. How do you hire a manager? What document do you need? Like, there's just a bunch of things that even the day that I was kind of going through, I was like, how do I describe this to people? And honestly, the only name that came to mind was just to call it the vault because it had different types of documents for different things, KPI sheets, all that stuff that Mike uses in his own business. But you get this bonus that I could easily. I mean, I actually just paid somebody $6,000 to get access to a similar thing. When Alex Hormozi did his launch, he gave access to a playbook that has stuff his company uses, and I bought it for 6K. Okay, so me calling this like, being worth 5K, that's me being conservative. Easily very useful. Mike says it cost him over $100,000 of attorney time to generate a few of the documents that are in there. Yeah. All right. So with these alone, can you see how having Big Deal Machine and having the document vault could like help move things along for you? Yeah. Yep. All right. So the 90-day playbook. So somebody just asked, like, what is my role? My role is this part. My role is being able to help you go from thinking about it to actually getting stuff done. I have a strategy that I use with my short-term rental coaching that was helping people get deals done in a rapid time frame. I'm going to be bringing that to you with the 90-day playbook. I will be the one writing this 90-day playbook. And what I'll do here is that basically I'm going to be crafting like the simple. I keep it simple, right? Break it down so that you're not overwhelmed in all the things, but you walk away knowing, okay, this is what I should be focusing on. This is how I track my stuff. Ovia is on here. When she did the short-term rental thing with us, in 90 days, she bought 2 properties. It's because we had a systematic plan. I'm going to be mapping out what that plan could look like from an action standpoint for you in the 90-day playbook. It's not going to be a huge, document, but it'll be a practical, usable thing that you can actually use when it comes to getting that your first deal done. Okay? I'm going to easily value that at, 1500, but because people get overwhelmed, but this is going to give you basically just step by step what to do in your first 90 days after the boot camp. Okay, no confusion, no guessing, simple roadmap. Once you start doing it, you know how to rinse and repeat, move forward, rinse, repeat, move forward, rinse, repeat, scrap that deal, rinse, repeat. Okay, let's check it out. All right, very good. And then this other one is probably my favorite. It's probably the simplest bonus, but it may be the most important and most efficient. This morning, my husband was asking me about a deal that we're looking at, and he was like, "Oh, have you done the research on that one?" And what he was actually asking was, have I run the AI research on the deal that we just found? Because I just came up with a really beautiful prompt that when I ran it, using, ChatGPT, programmed or whatever, an engineered prompt that I plugged into ChatGPT, it was able to give me such a beautiful 12-page report, not only on the industry, but on the business in particular that I was looking at. And I was able to just take that report, and I wish I had it here. It's probably in our living room right now. And I gave my husband, I was like, here, take it. And that was for the deal we saw 2 weeks ago. So this time around, when the new deal came up, he was like, have you done that research on the deal? Because it saves time. Okay. It saves time. It will give you questions to ask the seller, industry-specific concerns to investigate, market size growth and trend, future opportunities and threats, key success factors you need to know, and basically take research that used to take days or weeks to now take you minutes. Yeah. Now, this AI prompt, it really could be worth over hours of your time, and you get it for free. You get it for free, okay? Now, one question that I'm seeing in the chat here is what happens after the boot camp? What happens? And I'm like, yeah, that's a very valid question because it is a 3-day boot camp. And in that boot camp, you're going to learn how to get stuff done. Now, Mike, like I said, he offers, consulting services at, very interesting, beautiful, price points. But as we've been talking, he's also come up with a plan for our community as well, for those who want to continue working with him. And honestly, before we began talking about this, at some point I was like, can we just offer people like a full package or whatever that give them like a year? He's like, no, they have to come for the boot camp first. Like he's not like, basically it's his way of protecting his time. He doesn't want to take anybody's money up front and then, the person not actually be ready to actually get things done. So at the boot camp, you're going to hear about ways you can work with Mike to continue. But I can tell you one thing, the boot camp is not like, and I don't bash other events. I don't bash because everybody runs their business differently. But this is not a preliminary like thing. Like this is it. Like whether you choose to work with Mike afterwards or not, you're gonna have learned what you need to know. It's a matter of rinsing and repeating. Okay. Working with Mike then just becomes just an extra thing because then you have somebody you can literally like text and call afterwards. But in those 3 days, you're gonna learn what you need to know, and then you can make a decision if you want to, keep working with Mike, have him, be your advisor, and all of that. That's a great question. Thanks for asking that. Okay, so I'm gonna post that link again if we have not. I don't think I've seen it in a little while. I don't know if Victoria is able to post it, so I'm gonna do it myself. What the heck? Why is it not posting? All right. All right, so that's the link down there. Okay, so Victoria, if you can see the thing, like just post the link every now and then just so that people can have it and they don't, as questions come in. Oh, you can't. Oops, sorry. Sorry. I guess it'll be me. All right, fine. All right, so let's add this up for a second. So we're gonna do big deal machine, right? Gonna get big deal machine for 4,800. No, worth 4,800. The deal document vault, easily worth that. The 90-day implementation guide, easily 14.97 if I sold it. Your AI research assistant prompt, that'll save you time. I'll say the bonuses are probably worth somewhere around 12 or $13,000. And I've moved things around, so this number may be a little off. But the point is, you're gonna be getting a lot as bonuses. That I'm like, why are we even doing this, right? Plus the boot camp, easily worth $16,000. But like I said, today and for the next 56 hours, you're gonna be getting it for $29.97. All right. So type your questions in the chat. Right now, I'm here for questions. So as people are asking their questions, I'm gonna just, I'll be talking, but that's really just to kind of answer your questions and some kind of things that come up a lot. I'm gonna be answering them. Um, so after Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, this is gonna go away. Well, the price is gonna go back up to where it was before, up to where our folks that bought it before probably bought it at. Right? Got to choose fast. Now, as we're wrapping up our time together, and you guys have been amazing, I've really enjoyed this time with you. You may be, since you may be here thinking to yourself, okay, well, maybe, let me think about this. Like, maybe, right? Maybe I should do this. But usually when you're in the maybes, it's because something is in the way of you getting to that yes. If you had to guess, it could be, well, it's a short time frame. I've got a lot going on. I can't pull it off. Or maybe, no, no, no. Maybe I have a ton going on right now. How can I possibly take on learning something new on top of everything else? Um, can you close the door, please? Paper? Okay, here you go. You want to say hi to people? To everyone? They're seeing your face. Can you see your face right there? Want to go back to daddy? Okay, go. Um, so let me start by saying, yeah, you're absolutely right. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. Close the door. And it's not about, yes, thank you for asking that question, Bala. I appreciate that question. I'm going to answer it in a second. It's not about how much you have going on, but actually what you get to do with the time that you have, okay? So what if you could just invest 3 days, just 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, learning a skill that could replace your entire clinical income? Will that be worth it? Will that be worth it? Right? Because the fact is, if you're here and you're probably already spending time on wealth building, it just may not be working as well. It may, I don't know. Maybe it's not, right? You're going to be learning how to run a business, not, sorry, you will not learn how to run a business. You're learning how to buy a business that somebody else helps you run. Okay, those are two different things. You won't be learning to add, yeah, I saw that. You won't be learning to add 40 hours of work to your week. You're going to be learning how to add a few hours of strategic oversight to generate substantial, fairly passive income. All right. And Michael's system works, I will say, for busy professionals. Like he didn't build this for people, with unlimited time. I certainly know that we don't have a ton of time to be like, there's a different person that teaches this stuff, and he teaches you to actually like be an operator in the business. We're not doing operator type businesses. I'm not trying to make you a plumber. All right. And then I'm working on the 90-day implementation guide to keep you focused so that you don't waste time. All right. And then of course I mentioned the AI prompt. So it's one great question that somebody just asked is, will the recordings be included? And the answer actually was no until a couple of weeks ago. And then I talked to Mike because Mike likes to have the initial like the interaction, the live and personal interaction. But I said, but we have a lot of people who are interested who are working, say, on Friday. And you're like, all right, fine, they get 7 days. And I was like, okay. But after a while, like this middle of the week, I was like, listen, our people are hardworking people, right? They don't mind doing work. They just need access to be able to watch the replay. And he was like, all right, fine, done. And so, yes, you're gonna get 1 year of access to the replay, something that Mike does not do. All right. Usually, if you want to get a replay, you're going to pay more. But this time around, you're going to be getting access to the replay as well. So, there are three options available to you. You could either, push things off and decide that, you know what, this was too short a notice. I can't make it happen. But I know you're smarter than that. If you decide to use next weekend to transform your financial future, right, you would have done that rather than let it slip away while you stay stuck. All right. But remember, like I said, 9 p.m. EST on Monday, this goes away. Okay. This one that made me have to think like multiple times, it actually goes away at 9 p.m. Monday Eastern. It goes away at 9 p.m. All right. So like I said, some people are asking, but what if I'm working? What if I have prior commitments? It's less than a week away. I know. Your schedule is packed. I know. All right. I know. I know. This is short notice. I know. We've been talking about it for, we've been talking about this for the last 4 months, but that doesn't matter if you're just seeing it for the first time. I know. However, what if the timing is not a problem? What if the timing is actually a blessing? Why do I say that? How many times have you heard about an amazing thing that even you determine it's an amazing thing? It is so good. But then you think about it, you hem on it, you haw on it. You're like, oh well, let me think about it. You research it to death. Um, you tell yourself, oh, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna do it, in the next season. I'm gonna wait for fall. I'm gonna wait for spring. I'm gonna wait for summer. I'm gonna wait for winter. And then it never comes. I have people reaching out to me now saying, oh, let's do that short-term rental thing. I'm like, girl, I have so moved on. I have so moved on from that stuff. I still have my short-term rental, but I'm not gonna sit with you in an evening to teach you short-term rentals. I just know I wouldn't do it. Like, you didn't come that time, huh? Right? So please don't do that to yourself. Because when something truly important shows up right before it happens, it helps you make a real decision. Not endless deliberation, no analysis paralysis. Just, is this important enough for me to make it work? And then get it done. Right? If somebody offered you a proven way to make an extra 200K a year, but the training was this weekend, yes, you will find a way to make it work. And the beautiful thing is, now we have the virtual VIP where you can be in the virtual room as though you were there in person. All right. You also now, like I said, get 365-day, basically 1 year access to the replay. So you have 3 ways you can get this done. And like I said, what if this was your way to make it happen? Right? What if it was perfect? That you could hear about it like you could have heard about this in 2 weeks. And then it'll be, oh, we had this event, right? Imagine me telling you this 2 weeks later and be like, oh yeah, it was so good, it was so cool, but I'm so sorry you missed it. Wouldn't that have been worse? You have a chance to hear about it beforehand so you can actually come and be in the room. What's a ticket to Syracuse? I mean, compared to being able to replace your income, a ticket to Syracuse is nothing, nothing, nothing compared to what it could help you do. All right? So, I may be a little blunt here, but I remember I told my husband this once before we got married. I'm like, excuses, okay? I take none. Because you have none, my dear. You could either be in person or you could be virtual or you can watch the replay. Whichever one it is, you have to access this training no matter what your schedule looks like. And I think I've done a great job today, but wait until you learn from Mike. I mean, people sat with him for 2 hours on Saturday 2 weeks ago, and I asked them, "How do you rate this session?" And every one of them, put a 10 in the chat out of 10, right? So I know successful people like you don't let scheduling conflicts keep them from life-changing opportunities. Okay? You didn't tell med school to wait. You didn't tell residency, oh, life is not easy right now. Just wait. No, you did it. You showed up, you did it. All right, you made it work because it matters. This matters as well. Keep asking your questions, by the way. As you can see, I'm taking questions as I'm talking. I'm just answering common questions that I get from people, but I'm really using it as an opportunity for you to give me your questions. All right, I'm going to pause for a second because I want to show you very briefly what the checkout page looks like so that in case you're trying to, purchase, you're not like lost on the page. So as you can see, there's a timer up there. That's when the price changes back. So when you get in here, you get to put in your name, your address, your email address, phone number, your address, because I have a bonus that I keep forgetting to mention on this screen. Okay, so you, of course, like I mentioned, you'll be getting the deal creation system, the advanced acquisition financing, the pre-acquisition due diligence, the autopilot growth system, going to learn to make reach connections, etc., etc. But the bonus that I forgot, and I also forgot the last time, was that this is only going to be until that timer runs out. Those of you that have been thinking about the short-term rental thing, because I know that some of you on here have been following me since my short-term rental days. While I don't coach this, I won't be on a Zoom call with you anymore, but we have the same course that we were using, $3,500 value, now available to you as a bonus if you get the boot camp before the timer runs out. This also, yes, you, Ball. Yes, you. I held myself from saying your name out loud. Yes. Okay. I held myself from saying your name out loud. All right. But seriously though, if you have been on the fence with the short-term rental thing for the last 4 years, well, this is your chance, okay? Because when you sign up for the Catalyst Bootcamp, you're also going to get the full short-term rental wealth amplifier course. You're also going to get some of the later resources that I made as we were wrapping things up that were for like really DIY stuff, like our STR automation mini course. That's a gem right there. Um, our the SDR tax savings mini course, also a gem right there, okay? That's an extra bonus that you get by getting the boot camp at this ridiculous $29.97, right? All right. And then the other bonus that I almost forgot to mention, also only available to this one is to the first 30 people. Um, this is the book that sold $105 million in 3 days last month. Um, it's great for getting ideas on how to grow the revenue for the businesses you acquire. And I'm going to have this shipped to your house, whether you come in person or are virtual. Okay, so this is an extra bonus. It's not even our stuff, but it's good. All right. So yeah, so we'll need your address in here. You put your address. And then after you enter your information, the next whatever, after you click go to step 2, You will then see the two options. The option on top is for if you're coming alone, if it's just you. The one at the bottom is for if you're coming with a business partner or spouse. Okay. So they may look like the same thing, but just pick the like obviously one costs more than the other. So hopefully that should be obvious enough. But I thought to just kind of walk you through the page so that you can see what it's going to look like when you go to checkout. All right. So if you are here and you've already signed up, type a me in the chat so that way I can see it. I can see it because it's not easy to kind of go back and forth and see who has signed up and who has not yet. All right. All right. So let's go back there. Beautiful. Oh yeah. Okay. So So question here is anything you can say one thing's coming to go by this as I have very risk avoidant, but rather in what I want. Okay. Yep. Okay. So someone here is asking, like, how do I speak to the risk avoidant person? I love that you asked that question. Okay. And you know what I find about risk avoidant people is that what they are labeling risk. Okay. Let me tell you what is risk. Risk is showing up to work and being told, and I don't know your specialty, Afshan. Are you a physician? Like, what do you do? Type in the chat, please. Okay. What specialty? Okay. Okay. So actually, you said he or she's a doctor, right? Oh, psych. Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. So risk, okay, true risk is showing. Do you? Okay, and this may not be. I'm not trying to be invasive or anything, but do you have anything that like puts money in your bank account every month outside of your main gig right now? Yes. Okay. Good. So risk in my mind for a lot of people is having the main source of their income controlled by forces they do not control. Okay, by forces they do not control. That is risk. Um, Now, risk is showing up to work. Do you own your own practice or do you? Perfect. Okay. So for you, okay, so let me actually answer it the way that you need to know. If as somebody that already owns your own practice, this looks very different. While everybody else may be looking to buy, let's just say landscaping or HVAC or these other things, what if for you your own strategy, which is why we're bringing Philip there, is not to go after HVAC. Exactly. Okay, so Achan is saying he or she is comfortable with her own business, as it is your business. Perfect. For the business owner, this is an angle that I don't touch upon a lot on these sessions because most people are employees, but I also get to talk to business owners every now and then. For business owners, this is huge. Okay. For business owners, this is like rocket fuel. You know how when Facebook wants to expand, they don't go build another Facebook. They don't go trying to advertise Facebook on CNN. What they do is that they go acquire an Instagram. They acquire WhatsApp. They acquire, name the company, they acquire them. Businesses that grow big, they grow big by acquisition. Okay. So right now you're comfortable with your business because it is your business. But what if you could grow your business without growing your hours? Do you currently show up to work every day in that business? 4 days. Okay, perfect. So you're still in the business. Okay. This is not, I'm going to say something. It is not an insult. It is not, it's going to sound weird, but just hear me for what I'm actually saying. It's simply a job you own at this time. Okay? If you're still showing up for 4 days a week, it is currently a job you own. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. It's just what it is. Okay? Exactly. Because the day you don't show up, somehow income is going to drop. Somehow. But what if you learned how to grow by acquisition and you acquired a neighboring psych practice, or you acquired another arm, of something that your current practice does that you're currently shipping out to other people. What if you acquired, I don't know, just name the thing. You know the verticals in your business. People that you refer people to. What if now, yes, there are Stark laws and all these other things, but imagine if you grew your practice to five providers, and I hate that word, but I'm going to use it anyway. You grew your practice to five providers so that now you can show up, not show up, because now those five providers can now cover two locations. Some of you here may know Dr. Una. Dr. Una has owned her practice for the last God knows how long, right? Okay, there you go, right? But she hasn't stepped foot in her building the last maybe 3 years at this point. I've lost count. Okay. That's how to own a business and not be in it. So you can start to work your way out of the business because you can buy a practice that already has a practice manager, that already has other doctors in place. You can now, by buying that new practice, you now have additional revenue that can cover your being able to now hire another psychiatrist that can fill in for you and you still be profitable. So for the business owner, this is a non-negotiable. You have to learn how to acquire. It's almost irresponsible to not know how to acquire. And I'm talking just in the broader sense because you are morally obligated to kind of grow what you have without you in it. And by learning the acquisition skills, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Like you could literally be off to the races by Monday upper week. Exactly. So when you come and you get to spend time with Mike, Mike's core business, you see, he's not here today, like because this is not his core business. When I told him I'm gonna do another webinar this week, he was like, "Yeah, I'm not available." I was like, "Yeah, I don't blame you. Like, yeah, like this is not his business. Like, this is not even like this is me trying to have him like his core business is helping businesses scale. That's his core business, and sometimes he owns equity in them. Okay, and he grows businesses fast. But one of the core strategies is that scale through acquisitions so that now you're no longer, a smaller practice. Now you are a bigger practice. And now when you do that, you can actually optimize yourself for a possible sale or exit because now you've bolted on other practices and now you are juicy for those who want to acquire practices like yours. Oh my goodness, you have to be there. Hands down, you have to be there. Hands absolutely down, you have to be. That's a great question. I'm glad you spoke up. Those of you that are still here, type your questions in the chat. Type your questions in the chat. I'm here for questions. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm answering your questions and I'm, hopefully helping you make the right decision to come join us. All right. Now, sometimes people ask, is there a payment plan? Are there payment options? What payment options are there? And I don't have a slide on this, but I will show you. Actually, I probably can't even show you. But there are two things. Number one is that on the checkout page, there is an option. There are multiple payment options on there, but there's an option for Klarna. Klarna is a buy now, pay later platform that allows you to basically buy now and pay later. Okay. We also have another option, which is by a company called Elective, where they will let you actually like if this is a real thing for you, they will let you basically pay over time, and then they'll pay us in full. So you have a basically it's like a loan with them, okay? But it's 29.97. You can pay that off in however long you want. If you want to spread it out, make it tiny monthly payments, want to consolidate it, whatever. I don't know. But we have that option too. So if that is of importance to you, if you're like, what, I really want to do this, but I don't think I have the 29.97 to swing it right now, then just, send us a text, the same text that got you on this call. Just hit reply or whatever and send us the text that you want that link. Okay. Yeah. So if you have an existing business option, I am not a proponent of finding a ton of things that will end up like making you spread thin. If you have an existing business, your primary job will be to grow your business. I will grow it by acquisition though, because it's a little harder to grow something like with you in it. you can grow by addition. Yeah. You can grow by addition. You can acquire internal medicine practice. You can acquire, I mean, yeah, yeah. You can expand what you do, what you own. Like what some people do. There's a concept that I didn't get into here. That is the spoke and wheel, hub and what is it? Hub and spoke strategy, where some people will start with a core business, like they buy something that is a core, and then they start to buy the spokes of that business. Let's say, and I'm going to use an example here. Let's say you buy, let's just say, a landscaping company, right? And you end up buying a heavy equipment company, and you buy the nursery for the plants, and then you buy a training school for landscaping people. You know, see what I'm saying? Like you buy the different arms and legs that feed that one business, so that now, as you're buying them, each one can serve the other, and each one can grow the other. That's it. Basically, keep it all in-house. Keep all the monies in-house, right? That's a model that people use. It's called a roll. And another model is the roll-up strategy, where you have one business and then you start buying similar businesses that are like just like the one that you have, and roll them up into a bigger one, so that eventually a different company buys you out because now you have a big one. So for those who have existing businesses, you already have the core, you can build upon that core. Those who don't have a business and are currently, employees, you can now basically buy your initial core and then start to build around it. Yeah. Yep. All right. So I'm gonna put that link in the chat again. Guys can go on there, um, and join us at the camp. All right. All right. So for the timing piece, I say I'm glad you're here today. I'm glad we didn't meet in 3 weeks. I'm glad we're meeting now, so that you can have access to the three options. Coming in person. Highly recommend coming in person. Okay. Number two, um, doing the virtual VIP. Or if you're absolutely tied up and you actually can't be there, then you just, get the virtual VIP, and then we'll just get you the replay afterwards. All right. So what is it going to be? What is it going to be? All right. Now, one question though that I've seen come up a few times is, will I actually get a deal done? How long would it actually take me to get a deal? I don't want to spend all this money and then not actually buy a business. And I'm like, that's a fair question, right? You don't want, just somebody blowing up stuff, right? What you're actually asking is, how long before this changes my life? And that is a valid question. But I'm going to take you back for a second, and I'm going to ask you a different question. How long did it take you before from starting med school to actually like getting your first paycheck? Uh-huh, uh-huh. Yeah, right. This is similar, right? Except the timeline is much shorter and the potential upside is much higher. All right. So based on Mike's experience and even some of his students' results, his timeline based on 50 deals 50 plus deals is, on market deals generally take about 6 months to close. Yeah, no problem. No problem. Um, Off market deals generally take about 12 months to close. Okay. So Chelsea got her first deal in 8 months. Jason got his first deal within a year. I got my first deal under LOI in about 4 months. I ended up backing out of that one and currently have another one under LOI now. It's been a few months since we've been under LOI. The deals take the time that they take. What if it took you 6 months? Will it be worth it? Right? What if it took you, 12 months? Will it still be worth it? Heck, if it took you 2 years, will it still be worth it? I can attest to this one. This one actually, I will say it's completely worth it. I'm not talking about a microwave formula. It takes for some people, it takes sometimes some people it's a little more instant, but the rewards I would say make it absolutely worth it. What's typically involved? Usually starting months 1 to 3, initiating your search, talking to brokers, getting comfortable with seller conversations, making initial offers on businesses, right? Months 3 to 6, you're in negotiations with the sellers, doing due diligence on your serious projects. You're narrowing things down to your best opportunity. Months 6 to 9, you're usually working through your transaction issues, securing your funding, your financing, closing on the business. But here is the real benefit of working with, with a framework, right? It's that you get to sift through your deals faster. You're not wasting months on bad opportunities. I've done that before. You're avoiding heavy mistakes like the deal that I backed out of. You're knowing the questions to ask so that sellers are taking you seriously from the get-go and they're not blowing you off. And with our system, you're equipped to move decisively when the right deal appears. People sometimes can just spin their wheels on deals and then the deals go away. So if you're not looking for a get rich quick scheme, and I don't think you'll be that if you might be, but you're looking for a proven system that builds wealth over a reasonable time frame, then this is your option. You could either keep doing what you're doing, or you can invest next weekend, really, into learning something that could help you own multiple businesses and help you generate substantial passive income. Both paths will take time, but one of them builds generational wealth. But you got about 48 hours, roughly 48 hours, 56 hours, I would say, because Monday, 9 p.m., you're going to take that away. All right? All right. So I should have edited that screen. That shouldn't have said that. Now, one other question that people ask me, and again, I'm just taking questions, so please ask your questions. That's what I'm here for. If you're here, ask questions. Some people are asking, but I don't know anything about business. Like, I'm new to all of this. I don't own a business. I've never done any business before. All I know is medicine. All I know is law. All I know is whatever, right? What if I buy a company and I have no idea to run it? And I understand it can feel scary. You may not feel like you have any experience right now, and there may be many industries that you don't know anything about. But here's a real answer, okay? You could go one of two ways. You could either start with a business that you're in an industry you're familiar with, like the doctor folks here, you can buy, something in the medical space. If if you do something else, you can buy in that space. Or you can buy something that doesn't necessarily require the necessarily like industry experience, like like event rental, like anybody can rent a chair from you. Like that doesn't require any like core skills. But mentioned, we've also mentioned that you can also buy a business that has a solid quarterback in place, an operator who's already in the business doing the operations, running the day-to-day operations. Mike, for example, owns a plumbing company. He cannot change a sink. He does not know how to do plumbing, but he does it, right? His job is not to be the expert plumber. His job is to be the expert owner, all right? So let's talk through this, okay? The first thing to know is that even just being in medicine or being in whatever field you are, you've probably already had some core business training. You just didn't know that that's what it was. Um, Business owners are not necessarily experts in every industry that they own. All right. And having a quarterback in the business makes that the operational expertise is already built in. Somebody in there already knows how to run the business. And as a matter of fact, your lack of industry expertise may actually be an advantage because you'll be bringing fresh eyes into the conversation and you can make decisions based on data and result, not just industry traditions. You also have a due diligence system to learn exactly what questions to ask before you evaluate any business. All right. And I'm going to give, I'll give you the tool. I'll give you, a few things that you need. So basically, you don't need to be an operator, just be an owner. All right. So you don't want to be an operator. You don't want to show up every day, manage daily tasks, and do all that stuff. You want to be an owner, set strategy, monitor performance, and collect your profits. All right. All right. So focus on business ownership. Focus on business ownership, not industry technical jargon. All right, so the link is still there. Go.catalystbootcamp.com. And remember, you're going to be getting all of this for just $29.97 for a very limited time, but it's just $29.97. And there are multiple options we can get you settled. Like if you want to attend this, money should not be your reason not to. All right. All right. So you've got 56 hours. The ticker going down. So we start again September 12th. That's literally days away, 6 days away. We're starting pretty soon. And the webinar pricing is going to go away after that. After that, you're going to pay significantly more, at least $1,000 more. All right. The price is going to go up to get the value, the trading, the bonuses, access to Michael. You wouldn't get the webinar bonuses, though. You will not get the short-term rental course. You will not get the Alex Hormozi's book, unless I change my mind. But yeah, probably not. You're going to pay significantly more for it. And as far as I know, okay, so some of you are thinking, well, maybe I'll do it next time. I don't know if there's a next time. It's a lot, okay? This is the first time we're using this format since I began working with Mike, and honestly, I truly don't know if I'm going to do it again. I may do something else, who knows? But I don't know if I'm going to do this format again. I just don't know. Um, but you can say, you know what, I'm going to wait. I'll sign up tomorrow. Tomorrow is Sunday. You're going to get, you can get busy, brunch, and then kids, and then school, and then Monday, right? Um, Might as well just do it now. Just don't pay more just for procrastination. If you're still on this call, you really should just sign up. Okay? Click the button. I'm gonna put the link one more time. Just click the button, okay? Because if you're on this call right now, something tells me that you are thinking about it and you actually want to be there and you're just not making a decision. So just do it. All right? Um, because people who actually get stuff done, they get stuff done and they do it fast. All right. Choose your format. Are you coming in person? Are you coming to Syracuse? Are you going to be, virtual VIP? You want to get the bonuses? Just click it. Click it. Go to the link down below, put it in, get it done. All right. Um, so this is your investment today. You're going to be saving a ton of money. Just do it. Do it. All right. But only if you act in the next couple of hours. Monday evening, 9 p.m. That's the extent it's going to be. Yeah. We dialed this back, but I was like, I'm not doing it again. All right, no problem, Moji. All right, let's see what else we got here. So yes, this is it. All right, okay, yeah. So we're really at the end now. I recently heard Anik Singhal talk about a story from him meeting Tony Robbins, right? He met Tony Robbins, and somebody happened to ask Tony Robbins and said, "Oh, what's the biggest lesson you've learned in business?" And he said, "Make fast decisions." And I was like, huh, that's actually pretty cool. Because, like, why sit with a decision, living rent free in your head when you could either make a decision one way or the other, get it done, move on to the next thing? Like, are you coming or are you not coming? Right? Are you gonna, I mean, I hope it's gonna be that you're coming, but if you're not coming, then okay. Right? Well, make decisions quickly, right? Um, because when you spend a ton of time mulling over it, you end up talking yourself out of a good decision. You talk yourself out of something good when you spend too much time, just mulling over it. You end up just like murking things up. Because one thing I don't want is for you to just, have a decision that you know you want to make, and then 5 years later, you still haven't done anything about it. All right. I've already told you, Mike has a $145 million a year track record. All right. He closed on a deal 2 weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks ago or last week? I think it was 2 weeks ago. Um, We are building the systems compatible for busy professional lives. His students have closed deals in 6 to 12 months. And the bonuses, don't forget the bonuses on the page. All the things, big deal machine, the deal document vault, the 90-day pathway thing, the AI prompt that I'm going to give you as well. Now the short-term rental course as a sweet, sweet, sweet bonus, and the book that I mentioned. It may not come again. Okay, you've already sat through here. You might as well just go ahead and get it, right? Anyway, you have two choices always. You could either close this browser, go back to your normal routine, or you could click the button, secure your spot, choose your format, and be there on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But question is, which choice can you live with, right? 1 year from now, which choice would you be proud of? Which choice aligns with the person you want to become, right? Which choice will you be proud of 1 year from now? People have already signed up, okay? People are already coming. This event is going to happen by the grace of God. Okay? Like, this is not about, oh, shoot, this event happened or not. It is happening by the grace of God, September 12th to the 14th. The question is, are you going to be in the room? Are you going to be there, or will you not be in your seat? Okay? Because right now, successful people like you are locking in this rate because they understand, or even, during this period, that the price is going to go up. Um, you have a decision to make in the next few minutes. All right. I'm going to put the link down below one more time as we wrap this up. All right. And you could either pay $29.97 today, or it's going to go up. all right, to something higher. Okay. You could either continue trading time and money for even longer, or you can start building your potentially passive income streams. Right? You could either keep, hoping for financial freedom or actually start doing something to do it. So the link is down below. Okay. Click the button, click it now, not tomorrow, not next week, not when you've thought about it more, because that's always like the mental cop out, right? Because by Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern, it's gonna go up by over $1,000. And you're gonna kick yourself really for not taking action when you had the chance. All right. You're still gonna need to learn the system. You're still gonna want to build a passive income. You're still gonna want to replace your medical income with, some other kind of business. You're just gonna have to pay more for it. All right. So the choice is yours. You can choose fast. All right. September 12th is really just a couple of days away. What is it going to be? All right. If you have a question, I'm still here for questions, but just for a couple more minutes, as you can see. All right. So yeah, go ahead, sign up now. It is Catalyst, go.catalystbootcamp.com. And with that, my friends, I hope I see you in Syracuse, New York, or at least on Zoom, or at least get in the replay. All right, guys? Take care. Oh, wait a minute. Were there questions? Oh, good. Okay. All right, I think I answered these questions. Yep. Okay, somebody had asked here, how does the owner's pay get calculated? Um, After you pay everybody, whatever is left over, you get to take home if you like. After you pay everybody, yeah, you take off all the things. You pay for all your expenses, pay for all your people working for you, and that's your profit. All right. I missed that question from the Q&A. All right, my dears. Always fun. So glad you hung out with me. You guys are troopers. I hope I see you on Friday. Take care. And where do we end the live stream?